that you couldn't find
Yeah.
us.
So expanding gate at the top of the stairs, one for the.
For the other.
Not like you had to say
I
yes.
wanted that.
To secure this area.
Oh,
Troy Prep.
oh, yeah.
They bought Troy Prep, yes.
It can be just a simple
It's
expanding gate,
Yeah.
padlock, or,
The sign is
That's a well-run school.
only personnel only.
yeah, what
Authorized use only.
yeah.
That's a lot.
When we have
Get in.
meetings down here, we'll unlock the gate, the elevator, and unlock the one at the top. The rest of the time, with all the books going away, we're just gonna secure the area.
We're right, we shoot, gotta do this here. This is the air game, right?
You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Your student goes.
I was just gonna like hold you in underneath if I could for very long.
I
How
forgot.
the kids get in that?
Long enough for the bullets to throw.
Lottery? Really?
Whole water.
Oh, we put that door in.
But it's
I
all,
don't know how it works with
it's
you.
all in.
Nobody uses it.
Parents, maybe the parents agree, he says,
Yeah, I know.
we have tutors. Says, we'll take it.
He's got another
But
one.
that's the point, you gotta.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Well, see, he's been at it long enough, he's just about.
Voice of.
Yeah.
He's about that.
He's almost as bad as that.
Well, maybe it's not challenge
Challenge
now.
that, like George.
It's not that, it's just.
Oh, yeah.
that we never
You
started.
know what, you know what started getting close to again?
And it's getting worse and worse with the state regulations and everything, and I don't know how much our schools are, but I know
Same
it's
deal.
public education.
Every night he's on something.
That was a different guy.
It's just, I'm glad I'm out of it in California, because as our population changed,
Electric bills.
became more
I mean,
needy.
it's ridiculous.
There was more
And
demands
that's all
from
like,
the state.
like, oh,
We had kids who couldn't even read, have to sit through the state test, and it's just really not.
And then he was paying,
He got
I
bored
do all that
with
work. he
sitting
would pay me.
quietly and filling in blanks.
And then I'd sit there and I'd, he would put another one.
Or after. He
You
did.
have, you have. It's
Well, I
this.
had one of your signs in, I apologize, I had one of your signs in my car. Jerry said, he looked at the one in the front yard, he said, we have one of those in the garage. I must have picked that up with the ram before, and got stuck in the back, it was, I know where it was, behind the white tables, my granddaughter just took out there. So I have another sign for you,
For ice break.
or else I can get one of my neighbors to bring it on.
Either one, whichever.
I just started getting that.
You're
Look, that's not
Like
in the back.
7 years since I've got one from
I'll
him.
put one up.
But he doesn't ever ask a
You want
question.
one of mine?
He just,
Sure.
last
Yeah,
year.
in the back of my truck.
We'll
swap. That works.
And I want to know what the story is down before him.
I think a couple are going out on sister place that will go
Okay.
on.
They're great, that'd be super.
Give me a couple, I'll get it put out.
We'll talk about it. I know you all want to keep talking, I got 6 o'clock.
Oh, don't worry.
We'll feel proud.
Ready?
Yeah, right?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just for the record, there's a football game next night, started about 7:45. So
Understand.
Hey, listen,
For that as well.
Grandma's missing the soccer
Do you need to make a motion on that? I'll second it.
I'm the number one soccer fan here.
All right, so, opening remarks, the RI process continues. We had a successful public workshop last night, just an LPC number 4 meeting earlier today. I want to thank all of those who participated and provided feedback for the public workshop last night. It was very successful. Town is currently in its 2024 budget formulation process. We have completed 5 budget workshops that were open to the public. The tentative budget is very close to being completed to meet the submission date at the end of the month. Insurance, electricity, and fuel are once again impacting the budget, but we are looking at areas to cut or scale back to stay below the tax cap. Tax cap remains fixed at 2% this year. The town will still seek authorization to exceed the cap through the local law for planning purposes, but this is a precautionary measure only. The goal remains to keep below the tax cap, and if we do not need to use this local law, we can rescind it. But we do have to adopt it before the final adoption of the budget. Once again, I want to emphasize that we have to be careful in how we use available fund balance to pay for every deficit that we encounter. Healthy fund balance exists to help fund us during those surprise moments that we cannot predict. So that's the end of my opening remarks. I have no presentations for tonight. There are no public hearings this evening. However, we will have a public hearing on the proposed water district consolidation at the finance meeting on September 28th, and then again on October 12th, the regular town board meeting. that, we'll go into committee reports, and we'll start with airport.
Okay. We had our meeting on the 6th of September. All members were present. Joyce came and talked about new signs at the airport, replace the current ones, so that should be, when we get that, David will put it up, put it in. We're ready to restart the fuel farm. Our prices right now, even though we bought it cheaper, they're pretty good with the current prices in the area, so we're going to stay with that. Construction continues along the runway with painting and lighting. Painting is all done. Lighting is supposed to be checked today. It looks like we might be able to start the airport up this weekend. So it all depends upon.
Did they do the striping today?
It was all done
The
yesterday.
striping's done,
Oh, I was up there last night, wasn't I? Or not, maybe the night before.
John
They
was up there this morning.
Oh,
said
they
it's
had
all
it,
done.
yeah.
The electrician was supposed to come today.
He was supposed to come today, check all the lights.
Oh,
So I don't know what they found.
He rescheduled for tomorrow.
Oh, did he?
Because I asked her this morning, so.
Okay. And we're still shooting for the weekend, so. There was a question of electrical service at the airport. Each hangar unit has its own meter and pays a bill each month for the service. The fourth meter is on the outside, the lights paid for by the owner of the hangar. Grass and weeds were going up around runway lights. Of course, nobody's been up there. We haven't had the runway open, but Bob Saul's been up and did a lot of work. He got most of it cleaned up, so it looks pretty good. All the gate problems are solved now. We do have a number for the gate and all that kind of thing. So it looks like possible this weekend we might have the airport open, or certainly early next week. So the next meeting is Tuesday, the 3rd of October, at 8:30 in the morning here.
Okay,
That's where
thanks.
we stand.
What do we have to do to notify the public that we're open? How does that, kind of notification goes out?
FAA with
The notable will be released, and I put stuff on the web page at our airport tab. And then all the people that call me, I tell them.
The seaplane guys are gonna have trouble.
But once the NOTAM's released, all the airmen will know.
that's what they look at.
They're supposed to check before they were taking flights. Okay, thanks, Tom. Buildings and grounds?
The only night we went up, just for an update, I mean, it's no big deal, we went up to the vault the other day, Tom, me, and Dave, Ross, and Tanya, and Bill, and we had planned on what we're gonna do up there. Tanya wanted to tear it down, we voted it down. So,
Make sure you write that down, Tanya.
Well, I would hope so, I can.
so Dave's
It's the first
gonna
time I've
work,
ever seen it.
Dave Ross is gonna work on it this Saturday and Sunday,
Good,
and Tom finally looks it over, and so.
good
And
news.
the drinking fountain's gone, I don't know if everybody heard it, it's well, it's something below the floor. So, that's gonna take out, everything else is you. Oh, the library, I don't know, the asbestos report,
I haven't heard anything.
about anything on that.
Just a word of mouth, I talked to Steve Boyce yesterday at the deal, and I told him that there was an issue, and he said, I've had that for 5 months. I go, well, we need a certificate. If you've got it, we need the certificate.
Well,
He
Dave
hasn't-
Burleson, Dave needs it,
Yeah,
and he said he would,
anyway, so he said it's been done, that's all I can tell you, so maybe not.
because it's a matter of a couple hours to clean it up and get it, done.
You don't seem to think that's the case.
No, I just, Dave called me, I said, what do you do? I said, go give Dave a ticket.
Right.
I was on my way to Crown Point, he called me, and I said, it's all there, Dave, all you gotta do is sort it over.
Lots of luck.
Anyways, theoretically, they had it, according to Steve Boyce, it's just a
Oh,
matter
good.
of getting it, I guess, he says he's had it for 5 months, so I don't know.
I saw him last night at the thing, but I didn't.
I asked him
I
about it.
don't think he wanted to talk about it, because I said something to him.
Yeah.
I checked with Dave Burles, and he showed me what he had on the books, and it said, it was a report from somebody, and I don't remember who, but it said did not include asbestos.
That was the inspection report, I believe, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
So that's not the one.
no, you
So
need a,
Dave doesn't have the current document,
Right.
apparently.
well, it would be a separate document
Yeah.
from the inspection report. The
Yeah.
inspection report is one thing, and then the asbestos
Yeah.
report is an entirely separate certificate.
When they show up, just cooperate, put your hands behind your back, and don't give them any problems, okay?
Right.
But, when we talked about it, like the asbestos, the cost is crazy, it's like $3-4 grand, and Steve found somebody for 800 or 1,000, and he sent me the link in case for future, and he said, I've got it, so that was a long time ago.
And if the case was it wasn't asbestos, Dave was saying that the cost of having to truck the debris out to Rochester
Oh,
or
yeah.
wherever,
Yes.
that's a little scary.
That's- yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I hope that's not the case. Are we ready for Parks and Rec? Okay. Black Box Library, funny, at the last meeting, we had members from the Black Box Library Board present, and they shared some information about the library. It's a very busy library and has had 7,000 visitors so far this year, as well as noteworthy circulation. It is also a town cooling center and has heavy foot traffic, not just for library visitors, but for internet access and computer use. And I've been, when we have library meetings, there's always somebody in there using the Wi-Fi. The board members stated there is a need for better cleaning of the facility. This includes vacuuming and bathroom cleaning, and the public restroom is used frequently. Committee member Tanya Thompson noted that the cleaning of the 6 town-owned buildings is done by 1 full-time and 1 part-time employee. The committee agreed that there is a need to look at the cleaning schedule and budget. Perhaps the hours should be extended or a new part-time person hired. I didn't say that. Town groundskeepers. Head groundskeeper Grant Spalding reported the crew's mowers have been getting heavy use and often break down and need repairs. There's 2 types of mowers that are used, the smaller John Deeres and the large Kubotas. And they need to be on a regular replacement schedule. It is hoped that the Capital Reserve Fund for groundskeeping equipment continues to be funded. Tanya noted that the crew has too many properties to maintain. Mr. Spalding also noted that it has been a very difficult summer with all the rain, equipment breakdowns, and smaller than budgeted crew to keep our town properties looking good. On the other side of this, as I would like to note 2 compliments this crew has received just recently. Harold Connolly sent the following email to Mark. It said, "My wife and I have a place in Hague, and we are up most weekends walking around the parks and grounds around the baseball fields and the Historical Society building," thinking the 1888 building. "Whoever keeps up the grounds does a beautiful job, and my wife comments on it each time we walk around the area. They are always perfect. Please let whoever is responsible know they are doing a great job." I was recently at a women's group, and Pat McDonough of Hague spoke to me, and she said, "My husband and I walk around Ticonderoga 3 times a week, around Bicentennial Park, Recreation Park, and on the Lachute Trail. The natural beauty of these areas is so beautiful, and the parks are so well maintained. Your town is so fortunate to have these properties, and especially the right people to maintain them." So I'll make sure the grant
Nice, yeah.
hears about it. It's very nice. Black Point Beach, Sal was at the president in our meeting, and I thanked him for improving the beach's parking lot by spreading millings. Finally, there's no puddles. The millings still need to be rolled a little bit, perhaps, and smooth. And also the 3rd field in Rec Park has also been improved with millings. So that's additional good news. Getting new sand for the beach was also discussed. The committee did not think it is an important issue at this time. The new equipment donated through Pride will soon be installed. In fact, it's being installed right now. More sand may be needed for the required fall height ground cover for the 6-foot wide safety area that must surround the equipment. Recreation fields, we talked about that too, in the maintenance of them and the mowing, because we know that there is an awful lot of mowing to be done in this town. And it was agreed that baseball and softball games should be done by the 1st of August every year. And then grass mowing of these fields by the town can be reduced a little bit at that time. And anyone using the fields for team practice or games at any time should have proper insurance and an appropriately signed use of facilities form. All this information will be included in the park policies booklet. Town Christmas tree, where Tom is keeping us on target for this one. She reminded us that a plan needs to be in place for the town Christmas tree this year and in future years. Either pruning needs to be done to make the present tree work, or another tree must be selected for use. An arborist is still being sought to aid in the purchase of and the location of a new tree. And our meeting is next Tuesday.
Getting pretty late for the tree. What are we gonna do?
Well, she had said that Grant said thought he might be able to prune it a little
Oh,
bit.
not now.
Now, is it
No.
that? I haven't looked at it.
You need to look at it.
Okay.
It's pitiful. It's in really bad shape. I mean, I've been harping on this for
Yeah, I
a
know,
couple
I
of
know.
years now.
I know.
I don't know. I'm a little discouraged with it. But
There are a couple of potential trees in the park, but they're certainly not as nice as this one was. And she had also suggested the one up at the triangle across from the old wagon wheel, but there's no electricity there, so that wouldn't work
Yeah.
anyway. But that's a very nice tree that's up there. Well, that's it for me.
Okay. Economic Development Committee met on August 16th. Minutes are attached. It was a short meeting. We did give updates on childcare operations that are starting or soon to start in the area. As I said, minutes are attached. Let's move on to Highway.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Good job. I don't know, I did the wrong one. We met on the 29th. The public discussion, Tanya was here and she asked if she would, ask if you would like me to continue investigating the free one-time trip to the transfer station. I need to look into how many properties and how many tickets we would need. How will we distribute the tickets? What do we want these tickets to say? This will take some time. They will be like our dump tickets we currently have. And we wanted to know, can you look into the handicap ramp in front of the 802 Long Shots building? And Sal and I said that we would have the people that are doing the sidewalk check it and see if they could do it, make it ADA accessible. And Joyce, she said she would like to thank the highway department for the work they did on the beach. Committee discussions, Sal, we're looking on sidewalks. We can do another 650 to 700 feet for the dollars we have. And they just did 150, and they're gonna do another 150 or so next week. And we did look and make sure we completed all the sidewalks that we've had notification on through the years, and they're all done. And we're looking to fix in front of the chamber with a handicap compliant and rapids. We're looking to start paving next week. And he's been working on striping in front of the school and the armory. And stops, the road stops for the four-way intersection. Working on getting all the trucks in working order for winter. The transfer station will have a truck to help keep that cleared down to make sure that the hill stays sanded and safe. And St. Clair has been really good. Sal and I went over yesterday during the rainstorm, and that pipe that he found and he opened up, it had the concrete in front of it. So, like we said yesterday, we hope maybe that will alleviate that problem.
Yeah, we still have some more work to do, but yeah, it seems to have helped
But
quite a
it's
bit.
helped a lot, because it was nothing, it was fine. And that was it.
Okay, let's talk just a little bit about dump days. They were tentatively scheduled for October. We're having difficulty getting additional dumpsters from Circle to support dump days. We talked about this earlier, and it was hoped that Circle would have ample containers by the time we approach dump days. This is a countywide issue. They cannot guarantee that they will be able to give us additional dumpsters for the free dump days. At this point, I think we're looking at canceling free dump days. The reason I would say that is what we're going to end up with is going to have people in line coming to the transfer station, and we're going to be out of capacity, and they're just going to be disappointed and have to turn around. And I'd rather avoid that scenario.
They'll dump it somewhere, we'll have to clean it up.
Yeah, like outside the gate of the transfer
Yeah.
station.
That's-
But I wouldn't blame them.
They probably would get mad and just back
That's
inside and
true.
dump it.
But, you know, it's unfortunate that we probably have to cancel it, but I don't we don't have another solution right now if we can't get containers for them. But like, as Dave mentioned, that it come up in the meeting, we should probably pursue, get this finalized for doing dump tickets for property owners, residents for next year. They can use it anytime during the year that they want to. It's easier to control, it helps relieve transfer station impact for those 3 days, because they get slammed.
Would you just, not to interrupt you, but would you just send them out once a year?
Yes.
That would be one, and make your workload more.
Yeah.
Once they were sent out, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't know if they could come in.
were you looking in to see what other entities did for that, or?
Yeah, I'm working on it now. And I
We have time, but
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll be implemented, that I can get everything out in January.
at least for the organizational meeting, we should be able to state what we want to do.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, all right, good.
So we're gonna have to cancel that day.
Yeah, I think we have no choice.
I agree, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's too bad. All right, we'll move on to municipal facility.
We didn't have a meeting last month. We will have a meeting this month. AES has promised that they will have their initial schematic and design of the new police department completed with some architectural pricing involved. Won't include contractors' estimates, but will include their architectural estimates. And we'll get that, review it, and then we'll go from there. The other thing that will be on the agenda coming up is what we're going to do with the Pleasant Headwater building, but I think we're still waiting for some response from them on the lease agreement, so until we get that, there's really not much we can discuss, so.
Matt did send our comments, we've seen nothing back yet.
But at least we'll have the information by the end of the month, by our committee meeting, so that we can be able to start comparing some issues here.
Alrighty, thank you. Public safety.
Okay, we met on the 29th again. Supervisor Wright inquires if the committee would consider asking the town board to send a letter to the Ticonderoga Town Court regarding the disappointment when it comes to fines for the code enforcement cases. The committee all agreed. Supervisor Wright said he would bring it to the town board. Matt Ford congratulated Dave and Rihanna for the good job they have been doing in the last year and half on the paperwork that put together for court. He also explained the procedure he likes for court. I read the report there in the minutes from the police department and the codes. In the codes, Rihanna reads the monthly codes report. Dave Burrows went over the issues that are having on at 64 the Portage. Garbage is being thrown in, burned out garbage, and Dave will keep us posted. Joyce asked about the apartment building on Lake George Avenue. I don't know what that
The
ever
gray one.
ended up.
The one that's the,
Yeah, I know, what'd you ask?
I asked what
There's
the
no-
story was on it, because
there's no answer.
I was wondering if it was safe.
Oh, okay, I don't have any follow-up on that, so. Rihanna stated someone bought it and it's going on 3-year delinquent taxes. And Supervisor Wright asked about the house on Schuyler Street that puts garbage on the street. Rihanna states that's a violation to the tenant. We adjourn the meeting at 8:40. Next one is at September 26th.
Did I share the letter to the court with everybody that I drafted up, or just share it with the public safety? I'll send it out.
I don't recall seeing it.
Right, I'll send it to you. Decided maybe the finance meeting would go to the Senate. Okay, Public Works, meetings, minutes from the October 29th, or the August 29th meeting are attached. We had a pretty good discussion with some residents regarding town water and sewer request, Sagamore Outlet Drive and Snapping Turtle Lane. And another pretty good discussion with some Eagle Lake residents on the status of the project to get water to Chilson and Eagle Lake. Those were a pretty good meeting. There's more information in the minutes. I do have a bunch of resolutions here though for water and wastewater. First resolution is to extend the Homeland Sewer District SSO4 to include tax map parcel 150.4-1-7.120. Motion.
I'll move that.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution to increase the billing account for 39 Ward House Street, Robert Ledoux, to 2 EDU water, 2 EDU sewer, as there is attached garage on the home per the assessment description.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution to increase the billing account for 128 Lake George Avenue, Zachary Austin's, 2 EDU water, 2 EDU sewer, as there is an attached apartment on the home per the assessment description.
Move that.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution to increase the billing account for 164 Shanahan Road, Suzanne Bouchard, to 2 EDU water, as there is an apartment over the garage per the assessment description.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution to increase the billing account for 21 Keys Road, Grace Keys, to 2 EDU water, as the assessment description shows an additional living unit on the property.
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution to increase 89 Wayne Avenue, Scott Tierney, to 2 EDU water, 2 EDU sewer, as the assessment description shows an additional living unit on the property.
I'll move that.
Second.
Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution to increase 128 The Portage, Stephen Patino, to 2 EDU water, 2 EDU sewer, as there is additional living unit on the property per the assessment description.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution to increase the billing account for 151 Shore Airport Road, Delta Canal, to 2 EDU water, as there is an additional living unit on the property per the assessment description.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution to increase the billing account for 13 Abercrombie Street, Mark Yoggs, 2 EDU water, 2 EDU sewer, as there's an additional living unit on the property for the assessment description.
So moved.
Second.
Can I ask,
Yes.
we haven't passed it yet.
No?
I'm just curious why there's so many.
This was the result of a letter that the town sent out to a bunch of individual property owners because assessment and/or codes had denoted that they possibly had multiple units. So the town sent a letter out and said, hey, this is what we think. If that's not how it is, let us know, and we'll correct it.
Well, it worked.
Right. Any more discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution to decrease account number 54001095550 to 1 EDU water, 1 O&M water fee, as this is vacant farmland.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution to adopt the town of Ticonderoga preferred name and pronoun policy in accordance with New York State Public Service Law.
So moved.
Second.
Is that the
Is there
day?
discussion?
Is this the day? and-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
You in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. A resolution to approve the lead service line replacement project, AES number 4852, is substantially complete and approved change order number 3. The project, this change order adjusts the final contract value to accommodate for the negative $516.75 balance shown on the last pay app. This change will reflect the final amount billed and the contract value as being equal. Once we get it up.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, if anyone has questions, waters, or engineers here to answer those. Let's just make it all even out. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution authorizing the purchase of a CAT 42007 backhoe loader CFG2 for for the water wastewater departments from Milton Cat, off-state contractor Sourcewell with funds to water from water and wastewater capital reserves equally.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution authorizing the creation of a purchase order in the amount of $140,375 to Milton Cat for the purchase of a Cat 2007 backhoe loaders CFG2 for water wastewater departments from state contract through Sourcewell with funds from water and wastewater capital reserves equally.
I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution to award the bid for the 2010 S650 Bobcat skid steer to Don Page in the amount of $16,101.00.
So moved. Second.
Okay, that met the reserve, by the way. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, that's all I have. I'm ready for only 15 resolutions here. We'll move on to Human Services.
Just one note about that cat, that the unit they were gonna trade in, now goes to the landfill.
Well, they have to declare a surplus and it'll be,
Yeah, there's a
that'll
process
happen
for
when
that.
they get this one.
And then the one that's in the,
Landfill will go up for sale.
for sale.
It's $30,000 for the water. Backhoe is it?
Are we on?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We met this week and James reported what he's done so far and what he's planning to do. I'm very optimistic about the plans that he's come up for the after-school program. I think it's well-structured, he knows what he's doing. The interesting thing is he's made an arrangement with the teen center that they use the gym for 2 hours a day. Our program is be able to use it for 2 hours a day, so that's very good. And he's trying to have lots of activities because he realizes that everybody doesn't like to do the same thing. So far, staffing, as of that meeting, we were lacking somebody over 18 years old to assist him, so if he wants to leave the room for any reason, there's an adult there who can be in charge. He did have 2 young men already on board who worked for the town before, and since then, we did interview this, was it this morning? I can't even remember what day it is. We did interview today, and it seems like it was yesterday. That's not on here, by the way. So anyways, it looks, we want to get it going as soon as possible, and we were hoping it would have been starting next week, but I'm not sure. Do you think, Tanya, we're going to be able to start next week? No, not yet? Okay.
If you,
Oh, that's right, they have
if
to
you
have the
appoint
test.
her tonight, I mean, I don't see it on here, but you did do the interview quite late
Are
today.
you talking about Aiden Smith?
Yes.
Yeah, that here as an
Okay.
add.
It depends on when you can get his pre-employment and
That's it.
start testing.
And we did tell him he had to go to Glens Falls for the testing, so he didn't seem to have a problem with that, so hopefully. And I think James is competent enough with the work he's been doing so far.
Oh,
that-
yeah.
That anybody who comes on is going to know what their job is and be expected to do it, so I'm very happy about that. Soccer program is up and running, lots of kids playing, and the good news to me is we're actually using one of our own fields for practice. They're using the Little League field for practice, so that's a good, and the other practices are at the elementary school. So things are looking good, so I'm very pleased about that. And he's already working on the ski program and thinking about big basketball. So I think, Tanya, maybe things look better for you in terms of getting some things organized. So that's the best
We'll get
news
us
of all.
through this year, and I told him he's here for a while.
Yes. Well, I talked to the chamber because he is a young man and saying, find him some social activities to do, please, so we can keep him. He is living locally too, that's even
Yeah, yeah,
better.
apartment.
Yeah, Tanya helped with that too, so I appreciate that. Okay, so with that in mind, I would like to make the resolution to offer employment to Ellery Wright as an activities attendant at $14.20 per hour, no benefits, effective September 5th of this year.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, and I have the other one to provide provided to
Okay,
me.
so you read it.
This is a resolution to offer employment to Aiden Smith as an activities attendant, $14.20 per hour, no benefits, effective September 15th, 2023.
So,
Second.
Okay.
Joyce, go ahead.
All in favor?
Thank you, Tom.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Things are looking good for our youth program. I hope it continues.
Tom, anything from seniors?
They did have a meeting this past month. I did not get their minutes in time to get them submitted. I'm gonna have to talk to them about trying to get them out a little more rapidly. They didn't have a lot going on this month. They did say that they were working on their budget to submit to the town,
Good.
and that they would have it to us, what they thought by the end of this week, so I'm hoping tomorrow.
I keep forgetting to go over there and ask them about it. I sent
Yeah,
an email.
they said they've done it. They don't think there's gonna be any changes from last year much, but, anyways, they said they're gonna get it to us. And then they'll have their next scheduled meeting, same time next month. I think that they end their winter meetings in November, maybe, so they've got a couple of months left, I think, before and then they won't have any until the spring, so.
Okay. Thank you. Health insurance, we have received the new rate increases for health benefits for 2024. Those rates will increase 11.2%. The town will offer 2 health plans instead of 4 in 2024. And so staff on the 2 health plans that are being discontinued within the next few weeks will have to choose which other plans they want to switch to.
How much time do they have to?
Well, they've had a year so far, but now we're getting closer, and so we're sending out a notice tomorrow for them to, within the next couple of weeks, to choose the plan. That's all I have from health, nothing on contract. Cable, cable's an interesting one because the first notice was then superseded by the second notice. The first one basically said that Charter was unable to negotiate with Disney on negotiations for their channel selections, and so they were discontinuing, now I'm not going to read them all, they're in the minutes, they were discontinuing all these channels, and then the following month they had come to reach a deal with a new carriage agreement, and now they were going to offer the following channels: ACC Network, Disney Channel, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN Deportes, ESPN News, ESPNU, FX, Longhorn Network, National Geographic, and SEC Network. So I know you're all anxiously waiting to see what that means. All right, so that's all I have for cable. We'll move into other resolutions and financial resolutions. First one here is a resolution authorizing the creation of a new account. This is to receive and track grant funds from New York State OSC. This is A.2260.004 for police traffic service grant.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next one's a long one, folks. Resolution authorizing the following budget transfers. The first group is to fund increased costs from contingency and a balance after that transfer in contingency for general fund $22,171.97. $2,615.58 from contingency for justice overtime in the amount of $278.31. $1,014.02 for supervisor contractual recording, $2 to building general cleaning supplies, and $1,321.25 to building electric. Continuing, next group is to fund increased costs from contingency and highway. Balance after the transfer will be $7,605.13. $971.96 going to machinery, highway, lubricants. $797.44 going to machinery, highway, and $33.19 going to snow removal. Next group is to fund increased costs from contingency for sewer. Balance after the transfer is $7,538.09. $61.90 going to sewage treatment, electric in District 1. $258.08 going to District 4 for electric. $108.79 going to District 6 for electric. $14.40 going to District 7 for treatment disposal contractual. $218.53 going to District 7 for sewage treatment electric. $268.63 going to District 8 for electric. $32.01 going to District 10 for electric. $196.45 going to District 11 for electric. $195 going to sewer education and training. $90.12 going to sewer town attorney. $17.32 going to sewer general supplies. $259 going to sewer lab medical testing. Next group is to funding increased cost for contingency for water. Balance after transfer is $14,424.81, $90.13 going to water administration and contractual legal services. Next group is to transfer funds to cover under budgeted accounts in water, an amount of $1,740 to district water treatment pager pay. Next group is to transfer funds to correct budget error entry in District 5 to District 6 in water, in the amount of $8,063.00. And finally, in this group is to transfer insurance monies received to the expense line used for repair for Water District 6 from insurance recoveries water in the amount of $20,415.79 to Central Water Materials and Supplies. And now on you.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next is a resolution authorizing the following budget adjustments. First group, funding accounts by general fund balance for increased and additional costs. In general account, $8,778.64 for garage dyes, diesel, and gasoline. $562.52 for youth general employee HSA. And next group is funding accounts by sewer fund balances to cover increased costs. $3,794.06 for District 5 electric. $7,685.02 for District 5 electric, and $800 for District 5 treatment and disposal of employee HSA. And the last section here for this group is funding account by water fund balances to cover increased cost. District 1 in the amount of $1,721.92. District 6 power supply and pumping water electric in the amount of $10,773.43.
So,
We're ready for that. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution authorizing the following interfund transfer, and this is to transfer funds from sewer to wastewater treatment plant phosphorus removal project. The first group is to transfer funds from general to Eagle Lake water project in the amount of $64.89 from general interfund transfer to Chesapeake Lake. The last section here is to transfer funds from sewer to wastewater treatment plant phosphorus removal project in the amount of $3,742.
I'll move it.
Second.
second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And last group here, the resolution authorizing the following interfund loans. First group is transfer funds from general to airport apron project until funding is received in the amount of $52,059.13. Last section is to transfer funds from general to airport pavement project until funding is received in the amount of $16,634.26.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, I got a resolution authorizing the following expenditures for training in Bolton Landing, New York for Rebecca Norton and Amy Beeman. This is the OSC New York State Retirement Seminar on September 21st. No cost for training, applicable mileage and meals cost apply.
I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution authorizing the creation of a purchase order in the amount of $910.74 to StoreTech for a UPS Smart 1500 volt amp 1350 watt rack mount backup battery supply for the main server.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution to advertise for the annual fuel bid.
I'll move that.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm
So
sorry.
just a question. When we do this, do we normally get more than one person bidding on a few
Sometimes.
bids? But, I mean, just a question as to.
Yeah,
who
sometimes.
kind of-
We used to get 3 or 4, but when AmeriGas moved out, I send them to the same people, they just don't want to bid anymore.
Yeah.
And we always compare it to the state contract too.
And fuel always changes so often, it's hard to lock somebody in for a period of time. And just a question,
Okay,
curious.
sorry, I need to run.
Yeah.
I was noticing you there.
Are these bids locked in?
Yeah.
Okay. All in
Well,
favor?
they're on cents per, above the rack rate, it's a
Right.
specific
Yeah.
cent above the rack
Yeah.
rate.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution to advertise for the annual construction and debris C&D bid.
I'll move it.
Do we have a second?
Now second.
Any discussion?
Who moved it?
I
Joyce
made
did.
a
She's
motion.
not speaking up.
So sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution to advertise for the annual cemetery fall cleanup.
So moved.
Is that all of them? All the ones that are
Yeah.
active?
All the town owned.
Okay,
Did I have a second?
I'll be second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution introducing the consideration of proposed local law entitled "A Local Law to Override the Tax Levy Limit Established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C, and scheduling a public hearing regarding the proposed local law to be held on October 12, 2023 at 6 p.m.
I'll move it. Second.
Discussion.
Take which? Take which?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution authorizing the purchase of, I already did this,
We did that.
wrote it twice.
Where we got
Ignore
to.
I wondered what time I wrote that down. It was the
Yeah,
same thing.
when I was writing it in, I thought I've done this before. but-
Okay.
A resolution to accept the minutes of the August 10th, 2023 regular town board meeting, August 24, 2023 finance meeting, August 16, 2023, 2024 budget workshop number 1, August 31, 2023, 2024 budget workshop number 2, September 5th, 2023, 2024 budget workshop number 3, September 7th, 2023, 2024 budget workshop number 4, and September 12th, 2023, 2024 budget workshop number 5. No, I will not repeat that.
So that's my mind.
Second.
All right. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So actually, that is different. Your first one was to create the purchase order, and now you're actually authorizing the purchase of the battery.
Oh, okay, well, let me go through it then, just to make sure. A resolution authorizing the purchase of a UPS Smart 1500 volt amp 1300 watt rack mount battery backup for the main server at a cost not to exceed $910.74.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Good catch, Tanya.
Yeah,
So there was a method to our madness.
yeah. It'd have been easier if they were right next to each other.
Yeah, I would have, but that's not the way I roll, I guess. Resolution to pay the abstract.
I'll move it.
Second.
Troy seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution to accept the supervisor's report as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All right, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Does the town clerk have anything for us this evening?
No, I think we covered all mine.
Does the town attorney have anything for us?
Yeah, just a couple quick updates. We are currently in the midst of the publication requirements for the district consolidation and extension.
Yeah.
So the town board will kick that off at the finance meeting this month, and we'll carry it on into the October board meeting, just for the public that's watching. That is to consolidate the water districts and to extend a couple of the boundaries just within parcels that were cut off when the original districts were formed, like when the village dissolved and the district was formed, and a couple of them, it just created weird scenarios with properties being cut in half. So no big changes to the water system or anything like that. That was an inquiry at the Public Works meeting. And just on the Chilson Eagle Lake water situation, I know that that's a topic on everybody's minds. I do continue the work with EFC to see if we can access funds to pay for test wells. I think collectively we gave it until the end of this month for the Public Works meeting as a go, no-go on drilling the test wells. If we get to the end of the month, we haven't figured out a way to pay for those things in some sort of time frame, then the instruction is going to be to AES to complete the map plan and report without the test well information, which will result in, higher estimated costs just because of the lack of detail, right? The engineers are going to take into account the potential of having or not having drinking water source in 2 spots, and we'll proceed accordingly. We'll work on time to get it out to vote. There's a question about ballots and things like that. We will work on that. Obviously, we want everybody to have their voice heard if or when a vote comes out, but we will broadcast with bright lights the information as we go forward here. So I do keep in touch with EPA and DOJ, DOH obviously, letting them know every step where we are. So that communication has stayed good, but those are kind of the big tops on my agenda for right now, as always.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Members of the board, do you have anything?
I wanted to bring up something that's not, probably in the big scheme of things, is not that important, but Tanya mentioned that in June, there was $240 in the electric bill for the charging station down there. And every time I drive by, for example, the same car is always there, so it's a local one. And what are we doing about that? It's a small thing, but
Yeah.
I'm,
Well, it could be,
Should be getting the revenue, though, right?
pardon?
it was set up to be a free deal, and so it needs to get turned around, because it may be $240 for a bill, but the thing is, you can flip that around, so the worst case is you're not spending any money and you're actually gaining some revenue,
Yeah, just like a
which is
deer.
the way it should be.
Yeah, I've used it when I've driven my, I didn't know you, I should
So
check my driving a little bit better.
I-
It goes directly on my credit card. I have ChargePoint, which is what you have down there. And I believe you can work with them, because we've got them all over Lake George and Glens Falls. And you can set the rate, you can set it seasonally, so it can be higher in certain seasons, and, yeah, there's no reason you shouldn't be making a little bit.
Well, even if it's $1, that's, the taxpayers are paying for that, for someone to get their electricity. So
It's per KW.
Wasn't there a time limit on that to start with? That we had to do it for so many years?
I believe that's the way it works.
Yeah, but it's been long enough.
Yeah, I know I had now.
So what is the process for getting it turned around?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Could somebody be put in charge of that, finding out?
Yeah.
that is.
I was going to say too, that's extremely high. Even if you, I can tell you from having an electric car for years now, even if you charge the car 24/7 hooked to that thing, it's not constantly pushing electricity.
Right.
Once it's charged, even if it's plugged in, it's shut down. So, I can tell you, on that thing, my car would probably take 6 or 7 hours from empty to charge, and it'd be like $12. That's just reference. So if you've got a car that's up there 24/7, it's not constantly charging, 1, and 2, it's still, $12 a day. That just strikes me as, if that, that's even high, actually, I should say. Yeah, that's.
But the people that own that the unit should be able to set it up so that it is a charge unit and we receive the credit from
You
it.
should be able, whoever, ChargePoint.
ChargePoint should be able to set that up, so that's who you'd have to contact, is the people that install the unit, because they're the ones that maintain it, and
If you need help, somebody can, whoever
Well, I
oversees it,
think
can
your
give a call
finance
to Lake George.
department, Amy Beeman, has looked it up and found the information, and I think you should ask her.
Do we get the full 24 or is it percentage?
Yeah, they get a cut.
A
Yeah,
percentage,
when
yeah, sure.
Once you figure those
Yeah.
numbers out, I would having you call Lake George, I'm sure they'd be happy. They're experts on it, they've got a lot, and they make money on it.
it's a contract deal, because I'm having 4 put in at the restaurant, and I'm going through a company called EV Smart.
Yeah.
Not that that makes any difference, but it's a contract set up, they get their share, the people that has installed gets their share, and of course, the electric company gets whatever they get, but there is a contract.
Is it free service on it?
Yeah, they service them, yeah, if there's something going on, they service them, I mean, that's their,
It's basically the KW plus
Yeah.
their profit plus your profit.
yeah,
That's
right,
their,
that's it.
and they're different everywhere.
Anything
And,
better than nothing.
like, so for example, they're also, the owner gets to set the non-charge rate. So like, for example, if I left my car there, it took 6 hours to charge, and I left it for 24, every hour, I'll get dinged. Another, like, in Lake George, it can be $5 an hour.
You know, for taking up the station.
That's to keep people from
Oh, yeah.
parking there and not letting other people come in and use
And I
it.
can tell you, like, I get a ring, somebody calling me, a ring alert on my phone that says, get off that charger. So you don't get charged.
I'll have Amy Beamer look into that.
That's good,
Do you have one at your house?
yeah, every little bit.
Oh, we used to.
We just put one in, or?
I have a hybrid car now, so I'm thinking more about those things too.
Anybody else? Have any?
Yeah, I got some.
Yeah.
I spoke to you, I spoke to a couple, I didn't get a chance to give it to Tom. I went to the EMS meeting the other night, and there's no way that they're gonna get the required amount of assessment of signatures. They aren't even halfway yet. So I just wanted to think how you guys felt about if we could put it on the ballot, if we could still do that.
You would.
Because
Yeah,
it's gonna be voted on, whether it's a petition or whether we put it on. I
Um,
think we all agree it should be voted on, right? But to make sure that it does get on the ballot, because they'll, like they said, they've done all the corporate stuff and they can't, they
Yeah, I
can't.
don't remember.
No,
No,
no.
yeah, you don't count.
But could we, as a board, put it?
Yeah, so you
on
have to
the-
adopt a resolution subject to permissive referendum to advance the map plan report. Permissive referendum at that point, you don't necessarily have to trigger, because that's just to create the map plan report. And then you go through the same adoption process of the map plan report, is it in the public interest, which is the overriding test. And then that is subject to that is subject to mandatory referendum after that. So your referendum wouldn't happen right now by the first of the year.
But it would still be on the ballot the next time, right? Could it be on the
Oh,
ballot?
no, it would be a special election.
By its, yeah, that's on it, by itself.
Whatever,
Yeah.
winter, whatever you decide you were gonna do, it would be on special election.
I think they had like 1,11,000 something. in
About,
each.
about a third, yeah, it's about, they got about a third.
Okay.
So they needed 300 something plus $1 or whatever, everything. But they've gone but the problem is like Walmart and all the corporates, they can't get, the people to bring that assessment up.
But has the map plan report been completed? No, I don't
No.
think so, right? And
You have
whose
to get-
responsibility would that be?
We would have to do it.
Yeah.
We could charge it back to the district, but we would have to do it.
So it would have to come out of taxpayers' funds initially,
Just-
and if it failed, then it would just be,
Same process essentially as Joseph Neal.
This is not there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know the number.
Oh,
I'm not know where they were at, I know the number they got to get to.
so who would, I mean, the town, so that would be a AES or another engineering function to do that map plan?
It does not, so unlike a water or sewer project, which has to have a stamp on it, like an electric district or an ambulance district, fire district, don't have to have a stamp. There are, not to steal the credit, there are consultants out there that can do them. But you're likely to hear from engineering firms.
It's the last meeting, I don't know, you remember, didn't Renee say that her lawyer said 11,000 to do the map plan?
I believe that's what she said.
I think I sent Lake George's as an example. They had in-house staff that did it, but they had staff that were familiar with doing those. I don't know that we do.
And then a thought that I had was, can a district map plan report include other communities? How large can it be? Could it include Crown Point and Putnam?
In concept.
So if the map plan report included those in the district, they would obviously have to vote on
You
it.
couldn't do that.
Right.
It would take some coordination with all of them to do it, but in concept, it could.
At one point, either you were there or somebody said that after the district was formed, that Crown Point and Putnam would have to annex after the fact, is that right?
It could happen before or after.
Before or after?
be a contract.
Because
You
it would
could do it
probably be better after, because
Crossing county lines, I think, it's interesting, but in concept, we just had this text chain going, and they were blowing me up.
Not asking that.
Well, I got years plan all set,
the weather
and we can start.
awesome, though, everything's fine in the next minute.
I think we want that same as
Hopefully we can keep it. That's how it
It's not small, I mean, that's what it's.
Probably 3 years. Yeah.
Is it the residents?
So great. And it's so crazy that if you split the car, it's 4 hours to cross.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't say that. It's always only 30 minutes.
That's great.
As parents back there, come out.
Maybe we'll keep it open.
Sometimes hard to.
No, you definitely like to.
And then you're a fine, but mine will go for every step after that. And then the match is that we're 26, but
We'll start, 6 o'clock. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the board meeting. A few opening remarks. The town has completed its tentative budget on 9/29. It's been filed with the town clerk. It's been in that office for review by any of those who wish to review it. We've had 6 completed budget workshops so far that were open to the public. We'll probably have at least 2 more before we get to adopting budget. One announcement, Biddy basketball signups are the 17th of October from 5 to 7, or you can go into the town clerk's office during regular business hours. The flyer is posted on the town's Facebook page. There's no presentations tonight. We have 2 public hearings, one on water district consolidation and another one on tax cap. We'll start with water district public hearing. I'll open that now. I have a few comments and information to provide before we get into any public comment on this. So this is the second of 2 public hearings on the proposed consolidation. Water districts 9 and 74 water district, which is SW01, Street Road Water District SW02, Alexandria Water District number 1 SW03, Homeland SW04, Alexandria SW05, Central Water SW06, Park Avenue Water SW07, and Shore Airport Water District SW09 and extension. So what is this public hearing? This is the finalization of the process to consolidate the town's water districts into one district. Does not change water service, condenses what are now multiple water districts into one district. Some districts will still have debt. Those district users will pay their own debt. That's applicable only to their own district. In the future, any projects that require debt will be paid by the entire consolidated district. This is nothing is occurring with this with Lake George Water. The bounds of the district are set forth in the plan of consolidation, or the MPR. No changes to the in-district parcels are occurring. There are parcels that, for whatever reason, were split by the initial district formulation. For example, when the village was dissolved, the water district could have been formed that equaled the bounds of the former village, and here some parcels were split as they were part in the village and part out of the village. Thus, they have part of their property in district and part out, while the entire parcel receives water. So the extension of the consolidated district fixes these. What it does not do is let parcels out of the district. All parcels that are currently in the district remain in, as the town cannot on its own let those parcels out. That requires legislative approval. The consolidation only involves water district, only involves those parcels to pay off their pro rata, oh, wait a minute, lost my place. The consolidation only involves water users currently in a district. And those few parcels that are split. Does not involve Chilson Eagle Lake. Consolidation would take place beginning January 1st. And currently, bookkeeping is required separately for all of our water districts. So once the debt for individual districts is paid off, any future repairs anywhere in the consolidated district will be borne by that consolidated district. In addition, any O&M that is currently billed among all districts will now be billed in one consolidated billing. It's noted that all of this will not immediately solve the difference in debt, but as the debt is retired, continued savings will accrue, should accrue. That's all I have to state beginning this public hearing. If anyone has public comment on the Consolidated Water District, you can speak now. I'll jump at once. Okay. Since there's no comment on this, I do have a resolution. Resolution states, resolution approving consolidation and extension of water districts 9N and 74 Water District SW01, Street Road Water District SW02, Alexandria Water District number 1 SW03, Homeland Water District SW04, Alexandria Water District number 2 SW05, Central Water District SW06, Park Avenue Water District SW07, and Shore Airport Road Water District SW09, as set forth in a joint consolidation agreement, JCA, which includes an implementation plan dated July 13th, 2023, by AES Northeast, includes a map plan and report, MPR. I need a motion on that.
Can we close your public hearing first, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. If there's no other comments, we will close the public hearing, and I need a motion on the resolution.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, along this map, we have two EA assessment forms, Form Part 1 and Part 2. Do we need to read these into the record?
No, they went with the resolution.
Okay.
You can include those in your
Yes.
file. It's a straightforward, no environmental impact relative to these resolutions. We're not undertaking any projects. We're not adding, subtracting users or anything like that. So there's no dirt moving, I guess you could say, with regard to this
Right.
consolidation.
That's what those say. Yeah. Okay, very good. Great. Next up is a public hearing on a proposed local law to override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. And, so before, I'll open the public hearing now before we take any comments on the public hearing. Anyone, I do have a few things I want to cover on the budget and the tax cap.
Mark, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
got interrupted for a minute. I was supposed to do a roll call vote on that resolution for the
Okay.
consolidation of the district. So Dave Woods,
Yeah.
Mark Gray,
Yes.
Joyce Cooper,
Yes.
Tom Thatcher,
Yes.
Tom Cunningham.
Aye.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
First, the town is not raising the tax cap. New York State sets that tax cap each year. Municipalities have no authority to raise or lower that cap. The town will seek authorization tonight to exceed the tax cap before it adopts the final budget, if there is a possibility of the municipality requiring this. So the failure to pass the local law and then levying in excess of the tax levy limit comes with a negative, requiring the town to place an equal amount to the excess amount in the levy of the levying reserve. So budget workshops will continue. We have at least 2 more, so we can rescind this if we decide it is not needed. Just a little background here, New York State initiated the 2% cap in 2011, first applied to local governments and schools, starting in 2012, then they added in, it now includes fire districts. It does not apply to New York City. It does limit the annual tax levy increases to the lesser of the rate of inflation, or 2%. New York State does include the provision that allows municipalities to override the tax cap. This has been an effective tool in New York State for controlling property taxes until the past few years when inflation has kind of soared. Beginning in 2021, the inflation rate levels have far exceeded 2%, from 2.3% in 2019 and 1.4% in 2020. The rates have now gone to 7% in 2021, 6.5% in 2022, 7.17% in 2023, and according to New York State, and I'll quote here from their page, in accordance with state law, Annapolis office calculated the 2024 inflation factor at 6.26% for those local governments with a calendar fiscal year, well above the 2% allowable levy increase and indicative of the higher costs facing these localities. So at present, we're going into a preliminary budget. We are at 6.19% increase over 2023 due to the rising costs. I know there are many Essex County towns right now that are going to exceed their cap in their 2024 budgets. The Fire District has already exceeded their cap for 2024. I just want to say I'm proud of the efforts that the town board and the department heads have done to date in order to make some significant cuts and postpone some really necessary upgrades in order to control spending for 2024 and attempt to remain below that cap. Despite these attempts, we cannot operate the town budget at this time with a 2% cap unless we eliminate social programs, several social programs, eliminate needed staff, or use fund balance once again. Using fund balance to balance your budget is a dangerous practice and cannot continue indefinitely without leaving the town vulnerable to unknown financial situations and having no means to address them. So the purpose of fund balance and contingency funds is to have a means to address unknown and unpredicted financial issues when they occur. We'll just give a little brief summary of what our budget looks like this year. We are going from a tentative into a preliminary budget with the following. The general budget has an increase of $100,416. That's a rate per thousand increase from $5.33 to $5.39. The highway budget is currently increased by $190,575 with a rate per thousand increase from $2.20 to $2.45 per thousand. Chilson Fire budget is increased by $7,235, which is a rate per thousand increase of $1.67 to $1.79 per thousand. And the Fire District has increased by $181,494, which is a rate per thousand increase of 94 cents to $1.22. Town supervisor and town board members are freezing their salaries at 2023 levels. There are a few budgets that remain at 2023 levels, senior aging celebration and other cultural, which is like Ticonderoga Historical Society. Some other increases and changes that are reflected in the budget. We have a 6.26%, as I said earlier, inflation factor for 2024. We have had a 44.4% increase in workman's compensation participant share for Essex County, which amounts to around $30,000 in increase. We have an 11.2% health insurance increase from the provider, and this was one of the lower rates. We are reducing the plans that the town offers from 4 plans to 2 plans, and so there are some associated increases and decreases in town contributions associated with people changing plans. About a 3 and 4% increase in retirement withholdings per New York State local retirement system. As I said, a 7.5% increase in Chilson Fire budget and electricity and fuel cost increases that we have experienced. There's some union benefits per contract. Non-bargaining unit employees will have a 4% salary increase, which has the subsequent increases in retirement and Social Security withholdings. And but along with this, we've had some budget cuts. For general capital reserve, we've cut $160,000 out of that. Highway, we've cut over $53,000 in their capital reserve. This is not something we want to continue doing over a long period of time if we want to have some sort of effective asset management program. Other budgets that have decreased or been cut over 13,000 in the supervisor's budget, over 51,000 in central services budget, over 46,000 in the police budget, over 10,000 in code enforcement, over 26,000 in highway equipment, and over 121,000 in rescue. So we've been cutting. I think we've done a pretty good job. I don't know if there's anything else to cut, but at this time I will open up for any comments.
I have a question on water and sewer. What's your projection on how much that's going to increase this year?
Yeah, we'll have those posted soon.
How soon?
What's the date that we post those? We're having a public hearing announcement for November. I think it's the next November meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So people aren't going to know before the election how much their water and sewer is going up? Is that what you're saying, Mark?
What I'm saying is that those will be posted in the November meeting.
Okay. Looking at everything you've done here, taxes, how much do you project per thousand that the people's taxes will go up based on this going over the tax cap? Obviously, we need more money, so there's going to be an expense here. So you're going to tell us that we're not going to hear that tomorrow?
I just read you what the increases are per thousand for each of those accounts.
Right, I got it. Okay, but you're not going to have, are we going to have actual numbers? Okay, in other words, what they're actually going to be, these are projections.
I just read you what they are as far as the tentative budget goes.
Tentative, but you're telling me that these are going to be pretty close?
Yeah, we should.
Okay, all right, that's good. In this, in the budget, is there anything in that budget, capital-wise, that talks about pumping water up to the Lake George users? Is there something in the budget to do a construction program to do that?
No.
Nothing. So what you're saying is, this coming year, you're not looking at getting $9 million somewhere to pump the
I
water?
answered your question. The answer to your question was no.
Okay. That's all I had to ask.
Any other questions on tax cap?
I just think it's important to note that, just for everybody's information, that we did not include any money in this budget for EMS services that we had included in the past.
That is correct.
And of course, the County EMS is still out trying to put their, get their signatures together and stuff for a petition to form a district, but at this point in time, there is no money in the budget for that.
That's correct.
So, let's be more aware of that.
Thanks for pointing that out. Let's see, if there's no other questions, I'll close this public hearing. And I will put the resolution on the table adopting the local law to override the tax cap levy limit established in general municipal law, section 3C. This law will be rescinded if not required.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
All right, any other discussion or questions?
Just want to mention one more thing, Mark.
We're out of that public comment. The hearing is closed.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Let me do a roll call,
Yeah.
please. Dave Woods?
Yes.
Mark Wright?
Yes.
Joyce Cooper?
Yes.
Tom Thatcher?
Yes.
Tom Cunningham?
Yes.
Okay, that closes the two public hearings. We'll go into committee meetings. Airport, did you want me to do the airport since you weren't there for the meeting?
Thank you.
Or do you want to try to read my mind?
You weren't here?
Wow, that's low. Okay, so the airport committee met on October 3rd. The chair was unavailable. He was on a well-deserved rest. Minutes are attached. The only thing I'll add is that the runway striping was done on October 3rd, and the airport is now open. Been a long summer of construction, but we are complete. And I don't have anything else to add to that unless you want to say something.
Well, it's back in use, and I was talking to a guy today, and telling me that the group in Argot that fly ultralights, and they fuel up here and have been all year, so,
Okay.
and they don't require a whole lot of land on to take off from. But,
Yeah.
it's just good the word getting around in the airport is up and going.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. Buildings and grounds, Jenny, of course.
Well, Joyce has got the whole thing, but I did just a few things. Mel Vault, Dave Ross has been working on the repairs of the vault up there in regards to the leak and a couple other little problems inside with mold and everything. The library, the buildings down and gone and covered. We had the furnaces in the armory here service for the winter. And as everybody knows, the generator's in, but we're waiting for fuel and for an inspection and a pressure test. And then we can put it into use. And hopefully it'll be next week, so. That's all I got to it.
I'm sorry I missed it.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, Parks and Rec. We had public participation at our meeting. Steve Boyce will address the committee as chairman of the Black Watch Library Board. He informed those present about the progress of the demolition of the shed-like building at 6 Carnegie Place. This property was recently purchased for library use by the town of Ticonderoga. Demolition of the building was accomplished with the help of volunteer Dave Woods and the town's highway department. The needed asbestos survey was obtained by the library board and paid for with special library funds. Development of this property is currently part of the approved projects eligible for the state downtown redevelopment initiative funds. I hope it's still there.
It did not move forward.
Oh, no. Okay. Okay, that's not good news. Steve also informed the committee of the responsibilities of a state chartered library board, which are similar to those of a school board of education. These include securing adequate funding, developing programs based on community needs, and maintaining a facility that meets community needs. This includes making sure that the cleanliness of the building is properly maintained. The library is presently using a person sent by the county for 4 hours a week, using a to-do list that was provided by the library. He noted that there is presently a problem regarding the building's fireplace, where some kind of droppings have been discovered, and I did see it, and I'm not sure what it is. Dave, I'm speaking to you.
Oh,
The
I
dropping.
checked it. I got Dave Ross coming, he's gonna clean the chimney and cap it.
Okay, maybe it's just,
Birds or bats or
well, there's,
something.
I don't know if those of you who are around downtown notice the black vultures that are everywhere.
First
And-
time, naturally.
Okay, that's good, thank you.
Yeah.
The town Christmas tree. Alternatives to the present Christmas tree were discussed if the present tree is too damaged for use this year. And that meant maybe an artificial display of some kind or whatever. But in the meantime, an arborist has been contacted who is going to come to assess this tree and advise the town regarding trees in Bicentennial Park, because we've lost a few trees down there too. It was decided to have the town's electricians come and fix the damaged electrical line and/or the box near the present tree, and then check on the present light strings. Some sort of Christmas tree will be on the community building lawn for the enjoyment of town residents. There was some equipment that was taken down at the beach when the new play piece was put in. One included a slide that was
Can I interrupt you a minute?
Yes.
We went and got it.
Oh, thank
It's up
you.
to the highway, but it's in bad shape. It's in rough shape.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's all, where all they left the concrete, and Nate and I went up and got it and brought it up there. But with the concrete on it, it bent all the, when they laid it on its side,
I'm going.
it
Okay.
bent all the legs and stuff, so it's up there, and what's his name?
James.
Yeah, he's going up and look at it,
Okay,
and see, but
okay.
that's where it is if you wanna go out and slide.
Well, it sounds like I
Sure,
can't
risk.
do it. Well,
Did you have
shall we
them
even
lay on the
discuss
other
that
side so
because,
they went back?
What's that?
Did you have them laid on the other side so they went back?
yeah, maybe we could get unbent or something like that. The whole point here was we were hoping that we could repurpose that slide. It was donated to the town beach by the Elks Club. Unfortunately, we may not be able to do that, and we were going to place it at the Armory to be used by the after-school program. And presently at the Armory, thanks to Dave and the Highway Department, they've taken a portable basketball backboard and placed it on a blacktop pad on the south side of the Armory. So that will be used by the children once they're
Salad
home.
all that.
Okay, yeah.
You blacktopped it, and then you take off core drill and set the post and spin it in.
Yeah, it looks fine. looks really good. All right, let's see. Town cemeteries. Mount Hope Cemetery is a difficult property to maintain, especially with all the fallen grave markers and grave decorations on some of the plots. It is hoped that the town cemetery committee will address and enforce limits on family decorations of plots, which also include the amount, location, and type of decorations. And cleanup of the cemeteries is mandated by October 15th annually. BRI update. The committee asked for an update on the projects that were still included in phase 2 of the process, and now they've had phase 3. The projects that involve town properties were Bicentennial Park, and talking primarily of the entrance to the park because it is not safe to commingle cars with pedestrians. The Chute Trail and the north side roadway behind Montcalm Street businesses, and also the town skating rink. I bet that one's still on. Is that one still on?
No,
No? Oh, wow.
we did a lot of cutting.
I guess so. Oh, wow, okay. Well, I guess there's a lot of recreation opportunities. We're going to be happy to change our focus. There was a recent theft, which was a very disappointing one. Mark informed the committee that the Fraser Bridge sign had been taken from, was it on the bridge or in front of the bridge? I can't remember.
It's on a pole in front of the bridge.
On the pole in front of the bridge.
South side.
And this one was the original sign to the bridge, so it's really sad that somebody felt the need to take it. It was a cast iron sign and has a great historic value to the town. I'm hoping it will be found, but probably not. Photo kiosk, and by that I mean the stands that have pictures of the industrial history of the town that are along the Chute Trail. Pride had a grant to put in new photo panels, and there were 12 of them. The removal of the old panels, the paint of the stands, and the installation of the new panels has been done by our groundskeeping crew, and they spent, I think, about 3 days of work doing that for them. Okay, and everything else, I guess there's some problems with stagnant water at the beach, and I guess we'll have to keep our eye on that, but after
Well, I
this
think
year.
you're talking about the field.
Field. Well, he talked about there was a hole there that needed
Yeah,
to be.
I filled it in.
Okay, well, thank you. But we can't judge what's going on right now, I guess, with what's going to be happening all the time. So hopefully next spring, all this stagnant water will have disappeared. And that's the end of my report. We meet on October 17th.
All right, for Economic Development, committee met on September 20. Minutes are attached. The DRI efforts continue. There was a meeting of the Planning Committee today. We reduced some of the other projects to a lower number of projects with the idea to get to a total project cost of $12 to $15 million in accordance with the state directives. The micro grant efforts continue. We have a number of 6 final applications into seeking a micro grant. And those will be evaluated and determined as to what those awards will be and who will get those awards. And that's about all I have on economic development. So, highway, transfer station.
Okay, we met on the 26th. A public discussion, Joyce asked Sal, said, I have a few signs I would like to have put the Y at Champlain Avenue and the Portage. We already have a signpost there and would like to add these to that post. Is that taken care of?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Is it up now?
Yeah.
Okay, Sal said he was working on sidewalks and getting equipment ready for the winter. We can do approximately 500 more feet of sidewalks, weather permitting, if, with the funding. I intend to go to the bottom of Lake George Avenue where we left off. And I brought up the point where Joyce just said about having he blacktopped area for the kids at the Armory, and got that done, and he fixed the ramp at the bus garage. Mark asked Sal to paint the no parking across from the firehouse. Can you paint the stop sign, stop at the intersections? If the weather stays nice for next week, we will work on the free dump days and will be discussed at the finance meeting as that right now we don't, they're gone, right? And John Deming wanted to know how far does the town maintain the Bear Pond Road? Sal said in the past, we just go to the turnaround, past Treadway's turn. We cannot go any farther as the road is made by logs laid up against a tree and is unsafe for our equipment to go beyond there. That was the end of the meeting. That was it.
Thank you. Municipal facility?
We had our meeting on September 25th at 18:30. We reviewed the ongoing possible lease with the Hudson Headwaters building. We know that the marked up lease has been sent back to them for review, and I think we've received some comments back that's still in discussion, as far as I know. We did receive the, which is attached to the minutes, ADS's design schematic for the new police station and their cost estimates to build a new station. We went back to them with changes since the meeting, and the new projected cost to build a new one, if it proceeds in that direction, is $3,369,881.31. And that would be to install it or build it on the grounds of the highway department. We have since sent both the lease information and the cost analysis to build new to our financial advisors for them to do an analysis of which way they think is best to proceed. And that's kind of where we stand with that. Mr. Woods, who was present, did express his displeasure with spending taxpayers' money to have ADS provide the design schematic report and the financial information, as he thought we could have done that in-house, but it's been completed at this time. We have also decided to take the information that ADS has given us and go out to a design-build contractor to get a second cost estimate to build so we can verify ADS's numbers. And that's where we stand at the moment.
You saw the financial analyst came back.
Yeah, we want to have a meeting next week, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
Set up a Zoom call, yeah, I saw that. Our next regular scheduled meeting is going to be held on October 23rd at 18:30.
Okay, thank you. Public safety.
Okay, we met on the 26th again. Adam read his stats. We had 146 calls to service. Incident reports 25, arrests 20, uniform traffic tickets 74, DWIs 4, and accidents investigated 9. And all of the arrests, which is a lot of them, are in the minutes. If anybody wants to look at them from there. And the Codes Department had they issued 6 building permits, 2 safety inspections, 3 orders to remedy, and 3 of them were remedied. There was no educational or no training that month, and that was it.
Public Works. Minutes from the September 26th meeting are attached. I have a resolution I'd like to do first, and then I'll get into a little explanation on some information that revolves around this resolution. We have a resolution accepting a grant from the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation, EFC, and authorizing issuance of requests for qualifications or proposals for well drilling and hydrogeologist services.
I'll move that.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So what we're talking about here, there's been a pretty interesting development in regards to the Chilson Eagle Lake water project, municipal water project. The town board has refused to stop continuing the pursuit of funding here. And we've had this significant breakthrough from EFC. They are actually going to provide a grant to the town for the completion of test wells at an approximate cost of $300,000. There's no match by the town. These funds do not count against any of the funding packages previously offered, and we expect those to be updated in the coming weeks. This is a pretty massive development for the town, for those residents. To provide a safe municipal drinking water source for those residents and to determine a more accurate cost per user going into a map planning report and a referendum on forming a district. So the town board has repeatedly stated that it would continue in its efforts to provide a safe, affordable municipal drinking water source solution until all its options were exhausted. And we've pivoted more than twice in our plans when we've been faced with a roadblock on whether it's engineering options or funding challenges. Unfortunately, throughout this process, a small number of individuals have recklessly continued to derail the town's efforts to help residents to the potential detriment of their neighbors. These efforts include legal action, for which all Ticonderoga taxpayers will eventually bear the burden of if such action comes to fruition. The town is beyond pleased, however, with the EFC's efforts here, and I cannot stress enough how unusual this grant is. These just do not happen. And I can't thank EFC enough for all their efforts to remedy such a serious situation that we have. It's just Ticonderoga, New York City. The town will use these grant funds to seek proposals for test wells. And those test wells will then be drilled to seek a source of groundwater. If the yield is sufficient, then the map plan and report, the MPR, can be finalized with the known numbers for the water source cost per user, as well as finishing the remainder of the MPR. That MPR process can then proceed to public hearings and ultimately to a referendum vote by the ratepayers. And that's all I really wanted to say. I want to make sure the board heard the news from EFC. I don't know, Matt, if you have a comment, but this is extremely unusual.
It was a lot of work.
Thank you.
As Mark said, I mean, we can't thank EFC and the governor enough. They made this a priority, and you know, when things become this high priority, things like this can happen. And you know, credit to the town board for just keeping going. You can't stop when you get adversity in projects like this. And ultimately, as Mark said, the taxpayers, Chilson Needle Lake that are on the water system need a healthy, affordable solution. And EFC coming through with this funding, it just doesn't happen. And you know, we'll thank them profusely. We're going to send a letter to the governor and to Maureen Coleman, the CEO of EFC, thanking them for this. We've already started the process working with AES, working with Hannah and Rob at the county to put together the RFP. We just had the resolution for that. We've got some logistics. EFC called me there, I think it was on a Tuesday, and by Wednesday I had a grant agreement in my hand from the EFC.
Move fast.
And that's the next thing we gotta have is that updated budget number. Give us the number and tell us what we need to get this done. It just, you know, you can't continue to be surprised. And development, town board should be thanked for just keeping going in the face of headwinds that really just don't have any merit. But we will get the map plan report done, go through the public hearing process, the voters will be able to vote and make the decision on their future. And that's all we wanted to do. We couldn't get there because the numbers would have been, you know, too conservative, which is understandable if we didn't know what the source was going to be. And you know, I've been pleading with EFC and EPA and anybody that would listen and telling them that this is front and center every month with the town board, and it has been. And here we are. So this will roll out next couple months. We'll get going, and you know, same way we did the last project.
So if everything falls in line, we could be looking at a referendum.
I guess it's spring.
Yeah.
You know, it's difficult because you know, as people have expressed, there are a lot of seasonal
Yeah.
residents that go away and go south, and we will work through, you know, a process of absentee ballot and things
Yeah,
like that.
we'll make sure their voices are heard.
Exactly.
I'm sure we all feel the same. We want to thank you too for, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here.
I thank you. I mean, it's a lot of faith, and you know, I'm always, I say it a lot, but I'm always cognizant that I'm paid by taxpayer dollars, so I try
Oh,
to
you got
be.
paid?
I try to be stingy with those dollars myself, so, just, I mean, you just can't thank him enough. This is just such a huge shot in the arm. It doesn't, mean that a project's gonna happen or anything like that. It just gives the taxpayers the best shot at seeing what the numbers are gonna be.
We needed the test wells to get a good number.
Yeah.
Needed cost, yeah.
Just significant, and, we lobbied long enough, and here we are. I'm not done yet, I'm not done yet. Wait a minute. So if you go back and think about it, actually, I was thinking about that now, we still had the old financing package that is on the table with EFC, is still on the table. It was 8.3 million from EFC, 3 million which was potential loan forgiveness and grant. 5.3 million was a loan. Obviously, the town board, that's not good enough. We're not gonna settle 106 users with a $5 million loan. Congresswoman Stefanik came through with a $4 million grant. EPA through EFC came through with another $1.3 million grant. So the total that we have on the table right now is 13.3 million. This 300 or so thousand in the ballpark of the test wells is not included in that. It's not part of it. It doesn't count against us in terms of this financing package. And we're not done. We updated the IUP this year. AES and their team helped us do that in June. That's been updated, so those we're on that list for the drinking water state revolving fund. I expect in the next 60 days or so we'll hear what that funding package looks like. Hopefully it gets updated. The numbers have changed a little bit as to what you're allowed to get. The Ticonderoga project, if you really want to geek out and go online and look at that DWSRF IUP, there's a lot of acronyms, but you can go online, the EFC's website, look it up. The Ticonderoga project is still number 2. We haven't dropped it all. Not too difficult to figure out what's number 1.
Yeah.
To say. But the 2, significant projects in violation are 1 and 2. So hopefully we'll get another good term sheet with some updated terms, maybe a little bit more grant money. But based on the ballpark figures that we had, the funding package still is viable to fund a solution at an affordable rate. This $300,000 just means all the more likely that you'll be able to ultimately present the taxpayers with something they can afford. Like I said, we're not done going after grant money. I think there's the federal BIL funding and things like that. There's opportunity here to knock that down further, and we'll go after it. It's all planned. We just got to execute the plan. So we'll see.
Thanks. One thing I do want to discuss, it came through the water department. We have this process that allows individuals to request for water service termination. We recently, and I put this in front of you, we have one from tax parcel 138.4-1-43.110. The issues with this is the individual crossed out part of the termination form, and that's not an option. This has to remain as presented to the homeowner. I don't know if we want to have a resolution that says we do not accept this request for termination until it is provided to us in a non-edited format. It might be good just to put on record like that. We don't really have a process for.
Yeah, we can do that. I think maybe what we can do is take it up at the water sewer thing and issue a letter to them and then follow up in that way.
What are everyone's feelings on, crossing out part of the termination agreement? It's not really an option.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's what we'll do. We'll take care of the public works,
Why was it crossed out?
because they didn't want it there.
Jesus.
Well, I'll read to you the part they crossed out.
Yeah.
It says the undersigned hereby release the town of Ticonderoga from any claims arising from the supply of water to the above property and any claims arising from the termination of water to the above property. Yeah, so, okay, well, that's what we'll, unless anyone has an issue with that, we'll take it up at the committee meeting. Issue a letter. right, that's all I have for Public Works. Go to Human Services Group.
We met this week and James is ready to go. We just need to have enough attendance on board to be able to run the program. And that's where we were as of Tuesday night. He had 2 besides himself, and we need at least 5. So he's got a year's plan, and I'm just very happy that he has the experience that he has. I think once the program starts, there'll be no issues.
I'm quite impressed with it.
Yes, and the enthusiasm he has, and in fact, he's been sort of twiddling his thumbs a little bit, so he's come down and assisted the town clerk, because he does not want to just not, sit in his office and
Been counting your money or what?
He's been helping with the wreaths. So if you need help with the garland.
Well, your
Hopefully
chances
next
may be
week.
getting smaller though.
Hopefully by the next week,
Yeah.
we'll have it up and running, or the week after.
The interesting thing is, we've had applications recently, and the part that's missing are the high school students. That program used to be really depend on high school students, and they're not applying. We've heard of 2 that may apply, but they haven't yet. And the 2 we have already hired are high schoolers. So I guess we're ready to go on to the resolution.
Well, I mean, I've said this before, the town sets aside part of its budget for youth programs, after school, summer programs. But unless people step up and support those and volunteer as, temporary town employees to help those efforts out, we can't do it.
And it's really, really sad, because we were hoping we'd start early this year, and now we're going to start later than ever. I do have to say he's organized the biddy basketball, the soccer has gone very well. The teams are doing well, and now he's into skiing. He's organizing the ski program, and so it's just great to have somebody who knows the job already, and so he isn't learning as he goes along.
Okay.
So that brings us to the resolution.
Yep.
We did interview on Tuesday, and okay, let me do the resolution here. The first one we need to take care of is advertising for a skating rink attendant for the 2023-24 season. Hopefully we'll have ice for a longer period this year. And I move that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That's
Carried.
the person, by the way, who makes sure we have ice and anything else involving the ice rink. Also have a resolution to offer employment to Alicia Williams and Richard Ramundo as activities attendants at $14.20 per hour, no benefits.
I'll move that.
Second. Go ahead, Mr. Thatcher.
All right, any discussion?
I just wanted to add that these are both mature adults, so that's interesting that they're looking into our program, because they're not going to get rich at what we're paying per hour.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, seniors.
Yeah, so the, excuse me, seniors met at the regular time on September 27th at 1 o'clock. The minutes are attached. I won't go over them in detail. A couple of notes. Their membership dues for 2024 are going to increase from $10 to $15 to keep up with some of the inflations and different things that they've had going on as well. They are talking about retaping the pickleball court. They've got some tape, I think, and I don't know if you supplied the tape or if they found some tape.
No, they mentioned it to me, that was it.
Yeah, anyways, they're gonna retape it and see how long it lasts, holds up, but, so I know you're gonna try that. One of the things they did mention was, they apparently had a car that parks and went over the,
I was up there today, we got a form for blacktop curbing, Sal and I went up to Reels, we found it, and we're gonna pour that, because one guy went over the edge.
Went over the edge. It's a pretty good drop since it got paid.
So,
It drops
Sal,
off.
they're gonna do that right now,
Yeah,
so.
okay,
Should be
yeah,
quite the e-ticket ride, you keep going
Yeah.
with that.
yeah. Through the fence, I guess, maybe. At any rate, so that was mentioned in the meeting that brought up, so glad it's being looked into. Our guest speaker was Chrissy Lurkes of the Office of the Aging. She had a couple of things that I think we should make sure that the rest of the public knows. Is one, Medicare enrollment starts on October 12th and runs through December 7th. The Office of Aging is available to assist seniors in going over their present plan if they have one, and finding a different plan or applying for the first plan. So please feel free to contact them in Essex County. HEAT is also out there and available for people. That's an income-based program. The state has increased the available income for 2024, or I guess 2023-24 could be available for HEAT. So any seniors are out there that might need assistance, they need to look into that. If they weren't approved last year, they may well be approved this year depending on their income level. And so the Office of the Aging also has started a program where seniors and children can get together and play games. They're going to try to institute that here at the senior center as well. So there's a number of things that some of our older residents can take advantage of, I think, by contacting the Office of Aging and get some help on either Medicare or HEAP or really anything else that they might need assistance with. So, and then I just gave them a quick update on some of the stuff I talked about earlier. And they're going to try to start bingo on October 18th, the third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 in the morning. We're going to try to start a bingo program to try to raise some additional money and give something for some of the seniors to do. And that's it.
Great, thanks.
One thing that came up at the youth meeting was that when the seniors that are playing pickleball at the Armory have to be members of the seniors. If they're not, they would have to show their own insurance. So.
I think, well, I don't know. I don't know who was up to play, so I'm not sure if they're all members or not. But
well, they have to be.
They have to be.
I'm going to touch base with
No pickleball police or anything.
Go after them when they're little.
All right,
Brackets.
thank you. Health insurance, I don't have any updates. Nothing on contract negotiations with cable. I think 3 things here from cable. Spectrum Northeast noticing its customers, that WRNN Shop HQ located on Spectrum channels 22 or 91 on the channel lineup serving your community has rebranded to Shop LC without notice. This letter serves as notice that on or around October 31st, Spectrum Northeast will add the following New York regional sports networks to Spectrum TV Choice: Madison Square Garden Network, Sportsnet New York, and Yankee Entertainment and Sports Network. Customers are receiving notice that they will be able to select one to be included in their Spectrum TV Choice lineup. For information, you can go to Spectrum's website. And then the last one here, this letter sort of notice that on or around October 16th, 2023, Spectrum Northeast will expand carriage and add HSN2 and QVC2 as a basic tier of service on the channel lineup serving your community. So for cable, financial resolutions here. First is a resolution authorizing the creation of a new account, A.2610.001. This is fines and forfeited bail traffic diversion program. This is to receive funds from traffic diversion program.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next group, resolution authorizing the following budget transfers. This first one is to fund increasing costs from contingency. The balance after transfer is $21,822.61. From the general fund, the amount of $349.63 going to finance, education, and training, $6804. Building general supplies, cleaning, $1113. Finance employee benefits, $183.11. And garage water, $8708. Next group, funding increased costs from contingency and highway, balance balance after transfers, $5,978.52. $59.70 going to machine highway lubricants, $1,222.56 going to highway small equipment and tools, and $344.35 going to snow removal highway.
I'll move that.
No, wait, we're not done. There's more to come.
A lot more.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, but there's more to come.
Yeah.
All right, the next group is the funding increase cost from contingency in sewer. Balance after transfer is $5,674.83, and I read all these, but the total amount coming from contingency in the amount of $1,863.26 in the amounts that are specified here for electric, contractual, a number of different electric accounts for the different districts, sewer education and training, and sewer town attorney. Next group is funding increased cost for contingency for water. Balance after transfer is $13,175.47, for the total of $1,249.34 being taken from contingency for water office supplies, water admin, legal services, source of supply power and pumping, and source of supply power and pumping sewer, both water and sewer. So, next group is to transfer funds from capital reserve to purchase a new backhoe loader for water wastewater. And that is $68,653.50. Next is transfer funds from the capital reserve in sewer to purchase additional equipment for wastewater department in the amount of $2,325.13. And then finally, in this group, get ready, Tom, is to transfer funds from capital reserve to purchase the new backhoe loader for water wastewater in the amount of $68,653.50.
I'll move that.
I was gonna jump in.
Where are you gonna jump in? Well, you can second if you like.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay, next group. A resolution authorizing the following budget adjustments, and this is funding accounts by general fund balance for increase in additional costs. Garage guys, $10,349.55. Building electric, $942.80. Building water, $108. Building sewer, $748.20. Community beautification, motor oil and fuel is $893.03. And programs for the aging motor fuels, $737.48. Next group is funding account by sewer balance to cover increased cost, with $615 coming from sewage treatment disposal operational costs, and $2,789.02 for sewage treatment disposal electric. And last in this group is funding account by water fund balance to cover increased costs, $3,414.61 for power and pumping water electric, $5,868.34 for power and pumping chemicals and additives, and then $1,593.43 for power and pumping miscellaneous filtration plant.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. A resolution authorizing the following inter-fund transfers. First group is transfer funds from the general to the Eagle Lake Water Project in the amount of $70. Then the transfer funds from the sewer to the wastewater treatment plant phosphorus removal project in the amount of $3,687.56. $3,687.56, yes. And then to transfer funds from sewer to Black Point HVAC project in the amount of $1,500. And I need a motion on that.
I'll move that.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Last section here, resolution authorizing the following inter-fund loans. Transfer funds from general to airport apron project until funding is received in the amount of $552,727.10. Next is to transfer funds from general to airport pavement project until funding is received in the amount of $21,519.00. And then to transfer funds from central sewer to EPG project until funding is received in the amount of $472.04. These are all the airport projects that we can do.
I'll move it. Second.
Did you not miss one,
Mm-hmm.
the 740?
I'm sorry, what's your question?
I think we jumped over the 740.
This one?
The 740.
Transfer funds from general to airport pavement project until funding is received in the amount of $740,309.68. Thank
Yeah.
you. Now, somebody want to move it?
I'll move it.
Right, second.
Second.
Right. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I have a resolution to send Eric Flory to pesticide training in Clifton Park on November 8th and 9th, 2023. 3 newest pesticide certificate cost is $350 for their classes, $95 for hotel stay, total of $445. There will also be mileage and meal reimbursement.
I'll move.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution authorizing the Ticonderoga Town Clerk to apply for funding from the Justice Court Assistance Program for an amount up to $30,000.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. A resolution to approve the annual contract with the North Country SPCA for 2024 for shelter services, and a separate approval for the 2024 contract agreement with NCSPSA for dangerous dogs.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. A resolution to close Montcalm Street and Lake George Avenue to Bicentennial Park entrance from 3:15 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. on October 31st, 2023.
I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution to adopt the Town of Ticonderoga Park Policy dated October 4, 2023. This will provide guidance for the use of all town park facilities.
And I'll move that.
All right.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? This will be a living document, by the way. It will be changed as we need to change it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A resolution to set a public hearing for the Town of Ticonderoga's proposed 2024 budget for November 9, 2023 at 6 p.m.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. A resolution to set a public hearing for the proposed 2024 sewer rate, which has no change in water rate increase for November 9, 2022 at 6 p.m.
I'll move that.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. A resolution to accept the minutes of the September 14th, 2023 regular town board meeting, September 19, 2023, 2024 budget workshop number 6, September 26, 2023 special town board meeting, and September 28th, 2023 finance meeting.
I'll move that.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution to pay the abstract.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The resolution to accept the supervisor's report as submitted.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That's it for resolutions. I have 3 hopefully quick issues to discuss. I'd like to first discuss the zoning issue, and I can have Alicia and Joe discuss this. So we've had during the DRI process, it became apparent, as Joe and Alicia had a project with their circuit court, that their parcels are divided by the zoning boundary line into commercial and high-density residential. So the Planning and Zoning Board, they went before last week, could not really give them approval for their project to move forward because of that zoning difference. We looked into this. It turns out that just about every property that goes east on Montcalm Street, past that and south into Hague, has a similar problem. Stewart's, Verizon, some of the others. Yeah, why the line was drawn that way and right through a parcel instead of, around them, I don't know. I don't want us to get into doing spot zoning or anything like that, but this is a pretty significant discovery, I guess, to say the least. I don't know how Stewart's did their
Yeah.
remodel when that came through, how a permit was issued, or why the code officer didn't notice that at the time. So there is a way around this. We can address this. It's not a quick, but it's not a super long process, but there is a process. And it would start with, Joe and Alicia, petitioning this board to take the matter. I assume, you want to speak, you want to?
Yeah, so after that determination, basically, I know I said this to you, this was the line they determined. I don't know if everyone's seen
I've seen
it. So, not that it is sensitive for the DRI, but that is not the only reason it needs to be changed, because, I mean, it gives us no room for growth, but all these other businesses do things as well. So I don't know, we wrote a letter to you guys.
Okay.
That asked the petition for the town. I don't know if it's something that could be overlaid, or the zoning could be set for streets, or how it works, or time frame. But that's what we're here.
Does the town board have a letter yet?
No, we just,
So that's
we just wrote it.
How soon could this be, so he can apply to the DRI?
Well, yeah, they can go forward with their DRI project, because a lot of projects will have, pending agreements or things similar to the nature to this, to go forward. The state sees that all the time, so it won't stop their project, but in order to get the project, started and completed,
Yeah.
they'll have to go before the planning and zoning board meeting. So, as you know, the planning and zoning board's on a month-to-month cycle like everything else, so the soonest they can get back to planning and zoning board would be November, and it might be too late for that, because you have to submit earlier, right?
So,
They actually
We
have
are.
our application on the
Oh, okay.
agenda for November.
Okay, good. So there's that timeline. Then there's the fact of, does the planning and zoning board have to give the town a recommendation on how they should draw those lines?
Ultimately, if the process would be that the town board is going to undertake a review of that zoning boundary, you would refer it to the planning and zoning board, and they would give them a recommendation.
There's several things like this, zoning wise.
I'll read that wormhole, we don't want to go.
Yeah, I mean, and we're trying to do a new town comprehensive plan, which hasn't been done since 2006, but, as I said, I don't like spot zoning, but this seems like something that could create more problems in the interim before we ever get to a comprehensive plan and then a reexamination of zoning laws for the town.
Yeah, because when we originally put the application in, it was suggested to have a determination, and we went off the other methods in the zoning office. And we thought this line was further down, but this is where the board determined where that's the line. And after looking at it, we have no room to grow even on that original lot that motel's been on.
Well, those zoning lines look like they were drawn with a huge magic marker. I mean, they're like hundreds of feet wide. But it clearly goes right through your parcel.
And I mean, we're here talking for us, but we're here as well to get everything else. Not just looking at it, just for us, but the other commercial businesses that are already existing.
That would need their petition too, though.
Yes.
You can't petition on somebody else's
Okay.
property.
Right, okay.
Would that affect the DRI application?
No, not the application, but it has to be settled
Right.
before they get
Before
to
they
the
start,
project,
if they start,
before the Art State can approve
if
it.
they have some time.
So, just on zoning lines or boundaries, I guess, if you will, are they not, other than just a line on a map, right, which somebody can draw, are they not designated somewhere in writing, like a survey that says from point A eastward to
Yeah.
point B?
I don't know.
They are not.
They are not.
They're not required to be, no. And the town zoning map is quite old. Procedurally, within the zoning law, there's a process. The zoning board is designated by the town board, and all zoning laws are like this. But if there's an ambiguity in the interpretation of the boundary, which is what you have here, because parcels get subdivided and things over the years, but those lines stay. And if there's an ambiguity on that, the planning and zoning board is charged by statute with the power to interpret that. So they did that, and nothing wrong with that process. The board takes evidence, And they have to come to some understanding based on looking at those maps and scales and all that. The zoning actually sets out 3-step criteria of how the board goes through that process. And as the taxpayers are doing here, if the taxpayer doesn't like that result, they are completely free to come in and ask the town board to amend that boundary. I've done it. Matter of fact, I'm doing it right now in Glens Falls on the project. So for private lands, I do it. If there's an issue and it can be supported by whatever arguments they make, it's a discretionary matter for the town board to address that. Like Mark was saying, you can't just go pick a parcel in the middle of somewhere and rezone that. That's clearly spot zoning, and that's got its own legal issues. But if you're dealing with interpretations of boundaries on an old map, ultimately the town board as a legislative body has the authority to finalize that line and move it if you wish.
And what makes this more interesting, if you go to the real property maps of county, for their taxation purposes, this parcel is commercial. The whole parcel is zoned commercial, as is all the others down the line.
Yeah, they can't split parcels in real property
Yeah,
tax.
yeah.
They go by tax maps.
But
Nowadays, we do generally, zoning maps would generally follow property lines. You would, but it does come up if somebody has a big parcel and then they subdivide it.
Yeah.
It can create issues because then it may no longer follow that property line, right? So it's, but anyway, this process is a little probably longer than they want, but it is the venue for them to seek redress of their issue.
So step one's been completed.
That's,
Is that survey when you,
Yes.
yeah, we had it surveyed, when we purchased
there's no deed description there,
we have the deed description with,
but it doesn't specify.
Right.
Now, zoning doesn't deal with
Yeah.
these, unfortunately. The two are,
and both those parcels are listed as commercial in the tax.
Even though one has no commercial zoning at all, so.
Yeah.
yeah, tax maps and taxation is a government creature. A deed is actually a private contract, right, between the seller and the buyer, and it gets recorded. So it actually doesn't roll over to zoning or anything.
If that made a determination there when they did that.
So as a town board legally from this point forward, after they have petitioned the board to re-examine this, what is our next step?
Yeah, so we would prepare a local law to amend the boundary as the town board sees fit. You would set a public hearing, it's a local law to amend the zoning map.
Okay.
Only if it's been petitioned, so.
Or if they ask, petition, I don't mean by like a form of district petition,
Right,
it could be just a request.
Well,
a letter.
But does it have to be from each potential property owner that's affected?
If they're trying to do it for a district-wide basis, yes, but it doesn't preclude an individual property owner from coming in and addressing their boundary.
Right now, we just have the one request from this.
One
board.
request.
Yeah.
But your question is a good one, because from a planning standpoint, the town board does look at that to say, well, is this district-wide, or is it just this property? That doesn't necessarily dictate that you've got to do both at the same time, or you do one, you do the whole district.
But you could.
You could,
You could
absolutely.
make it as a
could.
whole.
Why wouldn't we do the whole district?
Yeah.
You look at the lines, you've got commercial buildings sitting there already, that's already a potential issue.
Yeah, that's a town board initiated request. The one property owner can't come in and request for 5 others.
No, I understand.
But you could, on your own initiative, say, we're gonna fix this property, this boundary line right here.
We want to promote growth in this town, that ought to be something we
The
want
map used to be hanging right here. The zoning map, but it's not.
How far
If you look at that
south?
line, it looks like it was drawn with this.
Yeah.
How for this zoning,
Yeah.
it's
There's how many
basically,
properties are involved there.
so this is, that has a 2-story house. This is,
So just draw, just leave it.
Right.
I'll fix it later.
that's,
And that's a new building.
yeah, that's primarily,
So do they
that's
forward
where,
Does it go, how far down does it go?
They could.
Yeah.
I don't know.
well, we
I don't know when it's
just-
around.
You don't have
It's interesting, Mr.
Calvin Hill.
Yeah,
We got a-
that's,
Because they came and did a pony show for us too.
that was pretty good.
Ryan.
Wow, that's a lot of property.
Let me read what the Chamber of Commerce sent us to the town. It says, good morning, Mark. Thank you for taking the time to meet with Joe Velardo and I this morning in regards to the zoning issue for the Circle Court Motel properties. We also appreciate Dave taking the time to meet with us collectively, as well as meeting with me after to review the commercial zoning map. As we discussed, according to the town of Ticonderoga zoning map and the zoning line between commercial and residential, the Circle Court Motel's second parcel where the two-story building is located, built in 1986, is zoned residential, as is part of the original hotel property. The Velardos, who own the Circle Court, of course, were under the assumption their hotel properties were all commercial, but as according to real property tax map shows, they are commercial and operating as a commercial business hotel. In addition, they are paying taxes as a commercial property to both parcels. Upon further review of the town of Ticonderoga zoning map for the central business district, Montcalm Street, and the service commercial district, Hague Road, the line separating commercial use versus residential use runs directly through several existing commercial properties that have businesses and organizations operating on them. Just near the Circle Court Motel itself, the Verizon, Last String, Stewart's Shops, Marinelli's, and the fire department properties all have the same issue of the zoning line dividing their properties. So in addition to there being a zoning issue for the Circle Court Motel property, there is a general zoning line issue for both of the districts mentioned above that will need to be reviewed and resolved. I would assume most commercial property owners within these districts are unaware of this issue, but in representing the business community, I would like to request the town of Ticonderoga further examine this concern with the commercial zoning line and take the appropriate action to resolve it as soon as possible. This issue can and most likely will cause additional problems with businesses operating, expanding, or further developing on their existing properties. We want to work with you to ensure that this issue does not have a significant negative economic impact on the community. TAC will be reviewing the commercial districts, Montcalm Street, Hague Road, and Wicker Street to see what commercial properties may be affected by this. We'd be happy to meet with you again to help resolve this concern. And that's been recorded into the minutes. So that was from TAC. Obviously, to prepare the local law, that's going to take some time. I have no problem doing a resolution tonight to schedule a public hearing if we know when that can be ready to go.
We would just need to know what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Are you just dealing with one parcel, or are you doing something broader than that?
Yeah, as Matt said in his email, we don't know how far this goes yet. I don't know what you all think in terms of.
Is it time element the same for one parcel or for 5?
Yeah,
So I mean, it wouldn't hold them up anymore if we did everybody
do we
time-wise.
Oh. Yeah, it just depends on when you answer the question.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Do we just get this one
Well,
out
I
of the
think
way,
we-
come back, or do we do them all?
I mean, if we think we can kind of, I don't know if we can look at the whole downtown zoning issue, but we can certainly look at the properties on the,
That were mentioned.
western
Right.
end of
Maybe
town,
from
that's
the
right there.
firehouse up,
Yeah.
maybe.
That we know are obvious, right,
Yeah.
from, maybe from, the one street light up, maybe from that direction and kind of get that sorted out, because that sounds like that's the one with the biggest issue.
Okay.
I would do that all at one time if
All right.
if it makes sense.
I know the eastern side, I'll get with Matt and find out what that western, southwestern side might be. And then I'll get that information to you, Matt, and
Yep.
you can draft the local law. I can try and get that tomorrow, so that we can get moving on this.
I won't be drafting tomorrow, but
You're gonna be done by Friday at close of business?
I gotta get on a plane tomorrow morning.
You've always got an excuse.
You've been working on it.
I'll get it done.
All right, well, then we could possibly have it for our November meeting.
Okay.
All right. Then I
For
will-
sure.
Okay. Then I'll put a resolution on the table to schedule a public hearing for, what is that, November what? 12th?
Let's do it. The ninth is
Is it on the calendar?
It would be November second Thursday, right? Ninth is our next board meeting.
So I'll put a resolution on the floor to schedule a public hearing for November 9th at 6 PM to discuss rezoning, I don't know where the end is. Rezoning the area around the Circle Court Motel and other properties has to be determined. And I'll get you the information.
Best we can do.
Yeah. Try and get you that information tomorrow. I'm sure Matt will be highly motivated to get you that information.
You're
So
talking about
that's,
the block, aren't you, from the fire station?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So that's the resolution on the table, so nobody wants to move it.
Oh,
I'll second.
Any other,
Question on that one?
any other discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank
Thank
you for
you.
hearing us.
Yeah, no problem. Trestle Bridge, you want to discuss, we've got issues with Trestle Bridge.
yeah.
Yes. It's had some temporary repairs. In fact, this week, somebody, the water department went out and replaced it, just
Eric.
one. I don't know how many there were.
Eric, I think replaced,
5? Up to.
he's gonna replace 5 if you guys want him to do that, but we need to find where the money's going to come from. Because there's right now just a slab of plywood down covering 5 really, really bad
Yeah.
boards.
But my concern is underneath, the boards on top can be fixed, but it's the structure that's holding them.
Yep, well,
We should
he
be checked,
went and, yeah, the whole thing needs to be.
you know, underneath the stringers and the beams are the ones there.
Yep, he went and got a quote from Builders First, and it's around $22,000.
For complete,
That's just for the material?
That's just material.
What is the material?
2x6.
3x6
5x6s, there's 4x6s, there's 2x6s, there's
There's,
a mixed
um,
match,
yeah.
there's a lot of sixes.
A lot of everything,
Yeah,
but underneath is what, you know, the top naturally, you can see and fix, but
Yeah, but you don't want the bottom to fail.
I mean, replacing that underneath would be a big problem.
I wonder what sort of information Pride has, because actually that was a Pride project.
It was, and she mentioned that in some of the emails that were floating around about that.
And it's almost like we need to know what the original plans were. I mean, we're sort of shooting in the dark. We don't know what kind of work was done in the first place.
It's probably too late this year to get well, it is too late this year to get a CFA grant. We could have worked through community resources in the county to get a grant for that.
But they start throwing plywood stuff down too, I mean, that should be handicap accessible. You know, you can't go across there if you start putting piece in here, piece in there.
Well, just to take it a step further, is it something that we need to stop access to until we can get it repaired? I mean, I don't know how
That's
bad
a
it is.
problem. That's a real big
and
problem.
I trust Eric, because he does a
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
contracting,
sure,
and he knows what he's talking about. He said right now to get it through the winter, he believes these 5 additional pieces will get it through. It needs to be repaired by spring.
Okay.
And he did a lot of legwork. I was very appreciative of everything. He wrote every single one that was there, went to ProBuild, got the quote. He's not gonna do the
Right.
big work, but he's willing to
Patch
go up and, yes, fix those. You know, he said that piece of plywood, there's a 5 boards. So, I mean, if they step in the middle of that plywood,
Yeah.
and those boards give, they need to be repaired this winter.
Yeah.
Because next year is our Alexander Bridge.
Rich,
Yes.
and that will be the main access for kids.
Yeah, so this is gonna need to be done in the spring by either bid or if we can get the grant and probably work on that, I don't know. But this is not something that can just wait.
So you want to double that if it's 22 grand for material.
If you're gonna pay
I
for
mean,
it.
rule of thumb, your labor is going to be
Should we go out for an
50,
RFP?
50.
Well, your RFP is only 30 days, unless, I mean, if you have the money this year to do it, but nobody's gonna work it down. I don't know.
You're running out,
My other work's all winter long.
running out of season.
Some contractors work all winter long. I
Do we have enough information on what needs to be replaced to do a proper RFP? Getting a bunch of change orders? I mean, you'd almost need to do an assessment of some kind on it.
Check and start underneath and move on.
That
The
requires,
top should be simple, I mean, to the
I don't think we're at the point to go for RFP right now.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, do we want to get an RFP for somebody to do a structural analysis on it and give us an idea what needs to be done, so you'd have the basis for an RFP?
What I would be looking for is a good cost estimate for what it's gonna cost, because I might have some market money left over that I could use. I don't know, I can't guarantee that, but if I have an idea what it would cost, I'll be able to set the bill for spring. That money has to be spent by, or obligated by December of next year.
I guess that's my question is, how do we get to the point that we get a good cost estimate without knowing what the...
Well, I should have all the
what's done,
records from when they first did the trestle, or Pride should.
or what's needed to be done?
Yeah, because right now what we're looking at is just, and in all honesty, that bridge has lasted for a long time,
That happens.
from day one. And if we're just gonna replace everything, you know, then it's gonna last another good long time.
If it's just cosmetically, I mean,
Yeah, so, I mean, I can definitely look through my records and see if Nicole can look through Pride's to see if we can find the original drawings of the bridge.
I'm sure Sharon Reynolds should know.
So
That
we
was her
think
project.
this is to replace the whole bridge, that material, or just this section is bad?
No, that 22,000 is to replace every piece of wood that's on that bridge.
Okay, to do the whole bridge.
And then you know you gotta double it probably for labor.
Yeah,
Had nothing to do with the infrastructure.
prevailing wage,
What not to do.
on things like that.
Well, that's what we got there.
So I'll work on getting some more info,
All right.
and this needs to be done early spring. I mean, there are contractors that will work through the winter, but,
most of them do,
uh-huh.
yeah.
On a bridge over a river.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does. Okay. Right. The other thing was St. Clair and Grove. I just want to give everyone an update. You know, we're continuing to work on the flooding issue at St. Clair and Grove. This really bothers me. I just want to say that, you know, this effort could have been completed by now if we had the cooperation of some of the residents there. We had one resident who refused to sign an easement with the town, which would have allowed the town to install a new drainage pipe with sufficient capacity. But that's certainly their right to do. Can't deny that. Myself, the highway super, and Mr. Woods here, we went out there at least twice to survey the area, and we were harassed by the resident.
I was, you ran.
I'm smart enough to put you in front of me. Our town surveyor was later threatened with violence by that same resident when he attempted to conduct a potential easement route, survey or easement route. Despite that, we keep fighting to get this done. This has been one of my major pains, and one of the things that I wanted to get done when I took office, to get this done once and for all. But we have experienced some recent success. When Highway and the water departments went over there, did some great work. They found the pipe, they daylighted it, they extended the pipe. Thanks to the great generosity, I might add, and cooperation of yet another resident who understood the importance of this. That pipe had been crushed by fill over the years that was dumped on it, concrete, things like that. But their efforts, highway and water, I mean, it's made a big difference in eliminating the water buildup. I'm not entirely convinced that we're where we need to be yet. We haven't seen like the 100-year storm that comes every 3 years now. But the last storm where we had 4+ inches, there was no flooding in St. Clair.
Sal and I went over it.
Yeah, I went over there, I met Sal over there, took a look, I met with the residents Gary Harris, their lawn was still flooded. But we did have, the codes officer did contact Lowe's Property Management and asked them to check the retention pond that they have upstream. And I'm surprised, Lowe's actually sent a contractor out to do that last week.
Oh, wow.
They cleared both the drain leading to the pond and then the overflow. So he said they cleared out a bunch of debris, sticks, crap. But I mean, the neighbor is still getting some flooding in their yard. But I think both of these efforts have made a huge difference. You don't have 4 or 5 feet of standing water in that intersection anymore. I'm sure with that 4+ inches of rain that we had, we would have been looking at, Lake St. Clair all
One
over
front, they
again.
got a picture of Mitch, he was up to his waist,
Yeah.
trying to find the manhole to,
So I'm pretty pleased with where we are now. We're not at the end yet. I would still like to see, something more permanent done. But that's kind of like where we are. And that's all I have. Anybody on the board have anything?
Do you need anything at all?
Anything at all?
Okay, yeah, I want to bring up the EMS district. If we want to pursue it, because their petition on the assessment is coming to an end. They've been to National Grid, Tractor Supply, Lowe's, Walmart, and all of the commercial projects. It's impossible to get a signature. And even if they got them, they'd still be $1 million shy. So going forward, I want to see what you guys think about where we go from here. If we want the district, the only thing they're going to survive is with a district. That's a given. But what do we do at this point that we?
So basically what you're asking us is if the board wants to just go ahead and eliminate the permissive referendum.
Right.
Go to a
Now we want the people to have a vote,
Well, they get a vote either way.
we definitely want that on the ballot, or a ballot, whatever. But as far as getting the petitions, it's, last year, just FYI, I'm sure we've all been over this, Mark, I already told them, last year we had 740 calls. And at the end of September, we had 740. Because, Crown Point and stuff, and Crown Point's going to increase theirs. And they dropped their district request from 550 down to 250. With a new thing, so.
Do you provide their budget?
They were asking, if they formed a district, they wanted 550 originally.
That's their budget.
Right, yeah. But they dropped it, they kept their revenues and stuff, and Crown Point's going to increase.
Crown Point should increase because percentage.
Yeah, percentage,
Yeah, on a contract basis. But I think, maybe this is a question for Matt, I recall at one point in time that when a district is formed, that the first year the town has to budget for the entire budget of the EMS services, right?
Yeah, you'd have to come up with a system for budgeting and the fees, so that's why usually they take effect on January 1st.
Right, so I guess what I'm saying is,
25.
if their annual budget is 550,000, or 500,000 round numbers, is that what has to go into the district budget, or can it be offset by what they have shown for past revenues in the past, I guess?
What the
For year one.
ambulance company's budget and what your district budget are not related. It may be by practical implication, because of what you're dealing with, but the town board sets that budget, not the operating budget of whatever entity you're contracting with. Is that, am I saying that right?
I think so, I'm not sure I
But how
understand.
does the town evaluate it?
You're not obligated to give them what they're asking. What you're obligated to do is, once you form that service, or district, you have to provide the service. So you either provide it as a district, meaning you hold the certificate of need, you've got the infrastructure, the buses, all that stuff. Or you have a contract with somebody that does that, and that has to be negotiated. So indirectly, you're ending up funding their budget, because that's just the reality of what you're dealing with. But from a point-blank legal standpoint, forming the district and what it costs to operate the EMS, they are not related, because you always have the ability to set that budget. The concern is, like any other municipality, they can set that initial budget however they want in the NPR, but what it actually costs to provide that service is not necessarily what's in the NPR, right? You could say, we're putting $250,000 in the map plan report, and that's what goes to referendum, but then reality sets in on the cost that it's actually going to cost you, right?
Is there a percentage that they can rate, like 2%, is the tax cap involved with them the same as it is?
Absolutely,
It is?
yeah. But again, just like the town does now, you deal with the tax cap in the context of reality, right? If you get backed into a corner where you just have no choice, you have to, once you form that district, you have to provide that service. And that costs whatever it costs.
So, like,
If it's 250 or 500, that's what it costs. And it's not like you can just say, oh, it's 250, that's all we're gonna pay. If nobody wants to sign a contract with the town, you're not getting the service. Yet you just charge the taxpayers for providing them that service. And now you've created a contractual obligation to provide the taxpayers that service. You may have underfunded it. That's then a town board issue.
Right, I guess that's my concern, we know what their budget is, right? And if they can't operate within that budget, then just saying that they're gonna ask for $250 to form a district seems like we could be
Right.
$250,000 shy,
The
right?
map plan report has to have some basis in reality. And that's where, like, when I'm curious, I'd probably like to read the Crown Point map plan report to get that far, because what they're asking for and what it ultimately costs to provide that service are just not related, right? If they get halfway through the year and 250 wasn't enough, it doesn't stop them from coming back and asking for more. That's just, and you've already seen it. You've dealt with that firsthand. So it's not to, believe me, I don't have any, I'm not putting my finger on the scale of whether or not you want to do this. I don't mean to do that. My point to you is the map plan report that you come up with for an EMS district has to be based in reality. If it's going to cost the taxpayers $500,000, that's what it has to show. You can't put in $200,000 or $300,000 to get it passed and then immediately jump it, because then you are dealing with a tax cap issue. And you're dealing with a budget shortfall if it happens during that first year of existence.
So moving forward to what Dave's asking for, what comes first, a map plan report, and who would do that? Would it be a map plan report that he brings to the town board, and then the town board would follow up with trying to set up public hearings, and, or do we have to do a resolution to form a district and then do the map plan report? No.
Yeah, we would set it up that you would have a resolution authorizing the funding, whatever it's gonna cost. What we would do informally is try to reach out to some consultants, find out what it would cost them to put together a map plan report. We don't have the staff in-house that would put together one.
Right.
Some municipalities do that have, huge staff that is experts at coming to this. And then whoever's going to put that map plan report together, they would reach out to EMS companies and things like that to say, okay, what is it gonna cost us? And get a couple of examples to say, all right, here's the evidence that we're basing our map plan report on, right? Like the engineers, when they do a map plan report for sewer or water or something like that, they've got quotes, right? They've gone to, the databases and resources that they have to come up with those numbers to say, here's our engineering estimate. Your consultant that comes up with a map plan report for you would come up with that estimate based on that data and say, here's what it's gonna cost down Ticonderoga. But that isn't a contract with EMS at that time. That happens after the district is formed.
But then you're done that, 250 is not enough.
Right.
Absolutely.
So the town taxpayers are paying for this NPR.
So
I charge it back to the district, but the town taxpayers are still paying for that NPR.
But just say they put it in for 550 or whatever they come up with. The next year, is there a percentage that they can raise it, or they could say, I want 700,000?
Yeah, it's up to negotiation of the town board.
Well, we could refuse it.
You could,
Yeah.
but again, remember,
If you lose,
you've created the district, so you've got to supply the service. And if you can't get somebody else to come in and do it for your number, you're kind of in a spot. You either dissolve that district, and then that's a whole other issue, whoever's holding the.
You see, they're refinancing and they're doing a lot of, their budget should come down, but there's so many unknowns in that,
And I've said this, probably, beat my head saying it so many times, and you're not the only ones. You're not the only ones. A lot of my municipal clients are struggling with the same thing. Solving this at the municipal level, in my opinion, is just an exercise in futility.
Really,
Wealthy municipalities, the Lake Georges, the Queensberries, that have all that significant sales tax, they're fine, and they're doing it. But for the rest of us out here, we don't have that kind of money. And I include me in it too. We don't have money, right? And trying to solve it at this town level, it just, in rural areas, it's not affordable, right? And I don't have a solution, believe me, I've struggled with the same thing.
I can't imagine.
I've thought of it a lot.
even if we go forward, this will not take effect until January 2025.
But just last week, they had 32 calls in 3 days.
Well, I don't
I'm just.
I don't disagree that they're busy.
It's, I just,
Yeah, well, no good. I actually heard on the ride up here, there's some legislation, and I think in the state to allow now direct pay.
yes.
EMSs,
Right.
probably is gonna go somewhere with the Democratic legislature and governor. We'll see, but it's a.
But even with their
Too
salary,
late, right?
their salaries, they had 600 volunteer hours last month.
Yeah.
600 volunteer hours plus the paid staff. And, so I mean.
How long can you sustain
It's
it,
just-
right? It's just so hard.
It's just a revolving deal.
Well, within the next few meetings, as we're going into 2024, we need to decide if the board wants to.
Well, I guess we have to decide if we're gonna fund a NPR, right? I mean, that's the next step.
If
You
we
can put out an RFQ. I can work with Rob and Hannah and see if we can come up with an RFQ to put out to see if there's firms out there that can come in and give you a pitch on how they would do this. And cost us the cost of
How
the
they
application.
would, how they would write an NPR,
Yeah, what is their advice?
Would
What
you
do
say?
they think you should do?
on how they would write an
All right,
NPR.
yeah.
I mean, to me, to move forward, before we even think about bringing up referendum, we need to know what it's gonna cost.
Absolutely.
Right, I mean, we need to be able to say, this is what they're asking for, this is the NPR, this is the district is gonna include, all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
that's why I brought it up tonight, because it's been stagnant for, we've been talking about this, talking about it.
And I don't know what it's gonna cost, but related to that, if somebody's willing to provide that service.
Right.
I just want to see it start to progress a little bit here and find out what we're gonna do and how.
Well, again, the Ticonderoga is fortunate in one regard, is that, we do have 2 ambulance services in Ticonderoga, which a lot of people around, communities around here do not have, right? When Screw Lake and, when they formed a district, they didn't have any choice, right? It was either form a district or use the county, right? And, fortunately, we have, one person's not available, somebody else normally is, so we are fortunate in that regard. It's not like we're backstopped.
We also have medic cards that circulate the county that help.
Yeah.
They're down here a lot.
Yeah. Do we want to do an RFP to look for somebody?
I mean, I guess it can't hurt to get the information. I mean, it's not like we're
We
signing
gotta
up
have
for a
it before
district.
anybody can give a,
Gotta start somewhere.
we gotta.
I mean, if we, start at some place that's not gonna cost any money, and if we can just find out what it's gonna cost us to get an NPR written, then at least that's a
Yeah, or
start.
nay, we gotta have a cost.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'll shoot an email to Rob and Hannah. Obviously, the next couple of weeks, we're focused really on getting the
Yeah.
Chilson Eagle Lake,
Yeah.
RFQs out.
Can't
So
go along.
we won't jump that, but I'll shoot an email to them, see if we can get on the radar and see if they've got some examples.
All right, and
Yeah.
I'll get back.
if we have something before the end of the month, that's fine, or the next month, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll have a couple.
At least it's a start,
RFQs.
we got, like I said, we've done everything for this year.
Okay. Do any other board members have anything? Tanya, you have anything?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, so do we wanna have them fix those 5 boards? And where is that coming? Are we gonna do it with ARPA money, just the 5 boards?
How much is that?
Oh, I don't know what the 5 boards are.
No, it's just 5 boards.
Oh, that's not big.
No.
Doesn't he have it in his
I-
It's not a building or?
Sucker me into it.
Are bridges buildings?
Is that good?
Other
Grounds, it's grounds.
I know, it's a part of the trail.
But this one's above the water, it's not.
It's a part
It's
of
attached to the ground on both ends,
It's a recreational trail.
right?
Well, I said it's probably part of the shoot trail, so I think between the two of us, we've got to figure out
You got it like it comes out of your budget, I don't care.
yeah, how many dumpsters we got through already.
All right, so one of these two are.
Okay, so I'll tell them.
The other thing too,
We
you
have to
mentioned
do
that,
it, we have to do
is,
something.
I guess maybe you already set the money for the diesel fuel,
Yes,
that's covered.
I can get that.
Oh.
Do
That's
you know what it is a gallon now? Is it six?
$3.94,
Oh, okay, that's less than.
it is 585 gallons.
I read that on the tank, yeah. I was looking for the fuel inlet.
Yeah,
I got it on the third of the
Yeah.
last door.
yeah, that's gotta be fixed, they gotta do the pressure test.
Yeah, I can take care of that.
That's it for me.
Matt, did you have anything else?
And do you have, we have a notice of claim that was filed in the last month, so we're going to have a brief
Okay.
executive session to chat about that.
All right, let me do public comment first. If nobody has anything else, we can come back to that because we won't have anything else to do for the public. All right, so we'll enter public comment period if anyone has anything.
Okay, I'd like to make a statement to get anchored into the record. That will be my public comment. The citizens of Ticonderoga have tried very hard to get the town to listen to them on the bad water that they've been drinking here for years. They are unwilling to work with the people, even though they submitted hundreds of signatures. Therefore, we have filed a federal lawsuit in Plattsburgh on Wednesday, and we are suing the town board and supervisor for failure to give us good water in the Fresh Water Drinking Act. And I want to make it clear that this was something I promised the people, that we needed to fix the water, and we're going to fix it. We've got no help from this town board. Okay, they made a decision to give us bad water that we won't drink. And because of that, we filed a lawsuit. That's my statement.
Thank you, that was very inspiring.
Well, it's the truth. You guys should have done something a long time ago.
Last call. Anybody have anything else? Do I have anything?
Back at the
Back,
back.
back.
Yes, so
Yes, what can we do for you?
talking about the trellis bridge, has that ever been looked into to get a metal bridge with the wire sides to it instead of wood, because the winters here are just gonna keep destroying the wood?
Talk about suspension bridge.
Yeah, so I mean, just wanted to throw that out.
Well, I mean, it's built on the railroad bridge, which is
Yeah, I
a
think
plate
that's
driven
probably why
bridge.
it's done that
So it's
way.
probably got stringers that are metal, I assume.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, I really don't know, I know
The
Grant and
metal
I
will
went out,
sound, but I don't know.
Grant and I were there last year, we fixed some stuff, and then we looked underneath.
Yeah, you probably could. I don't know what the cost benefit analysis is between replacing the wood every, I don't know, 15, 20 years versus probably the higher cost of using metal stringers and.
But you've been replacing pieces of wood for years,
Well, yeah,
every year.
some of them because little vandals are running around
Right.
with pieces of wood off.
Right.
We haven't really, only the last like 4 or 5 years have we ever really started replacing any kind of structure besides vandal.
Gotcha.
But it doesn't, it's not a moot point that could be a possible type of construction, I suppose. Anybody else have anything? No?
I
Going
would
once.
assume the Kissing Bridge is probably similar in construction, is it?
No, I don't think so.
It's not a railroad bridge,
Yeah.
But
it's just a plate.
it's just metal with wood on top of it?
All right, if there's nothing else, we will conclude at 19:48.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah. See,
Coming over.
because you were here, there were no issues.
Your resolution is to go into an executive session to
Oh,
discuss,
yeah, I'm sorry.
a notice of claim.
All right, I've stopped this.
Who first and second?
Okay.
In my, yes.
Alon.
I didn't hear anybody.
Hey, wait. I need a motion to go into executive.
I'll move it.